like the red camera's lit up, but there's no timer. So, there we go. Now you're live. You're good.
Sometimes you got to push that thing really hard.
You got to really get in there.
Yeah, you do. Dang. All right. I think we're ready to go. Looks like we got good sound here. Sound check there.
Check. Mic check. 1, 2.
Okay.
Or slack on these bad
I'm
boys.
going to actually do that over here because this camera doesn't have very good audio.
Oh.
Here we go.
Bam.
Bump that all at the same time.
That's it.
Yeah, we'll sync it up in post. I need to set up so that I can run that camera and this camera
Through the Stream Deck?
through the Stream Deck, and then eventually I'll record it through OBS. But because this processor, I don't know why it's a little bit slower when I switch between the camera feeds. It doesn't let me. Also, I just realized that I can't look at your camera because it's recording.
That's too bad.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, as long as that looks good, we're good.
Yeah.
So it's not working on my computer now. I can only see myself.
You just got to get a better camera.
Yeah, the G7's just it got us by. I mean, it's just a good secondary. It's like a
I mean, it's literally, I feel like they should just put that in the marketing.
yeah.
Like, hey, G7, backup camera. That's it.
That's what it is.
Oh,
it is a good backup camera.
Try
Yeah,
not to tap the cable.
it is a good backup camera. You're good as long as you just are touching your headsets. You're good. You touch that, I don't know what
I'm
that's
screwed. Got it.
Yeah, I don't know what that's sounding like. So I am gonna bump you up a little bit on there.
Yeah. Take me all the way.
All the way up. All right. Well, this is our Christmas special, everybody. I got Quinn in the hot seat today. This is my brother. He got exposed, so he's coming on to set the record straight.
You could be a little more enthusiastic about me being on the podcast. This is not a chore.
I don't know why. It's early in the morning. I don't know why I'm not.
Give
I'm
him
not
your
just
give him your
chipper.
date and time.
All right, date and time. It's 9:53 a.m. It's the 26th of December. Do you like that? Is that a good?
Yeah, I think it's great.
I put that in there purposely because the whole point is to be like transparent.
It gives them a frame of reference. They're like, oh, did he
Exactly.
record this? Is this a 2 a.m. podcast? Did
Yeah.
he just come home from the bars? Did he just wake up and have a cup of coffee? It's 5 degrees outside, lightly snowing, although it's most likely just frozen condensation. So is that snow? You tell me, weather boy.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not a weather boy. Don't call me weather boy.
You ever seen
There's
that?
some hoarfrost outside though.
There are a lot.
It's insane.
It's
You look at
gorgeous.
Look at the trees. All right, we're not just here to babble. Quinn actually is, being my little brother, he sucked up a little bit of wisdom, or it rubbed off a little bit, and
I gathered some myself.
pretty excited to have him on the podcast. He was pretty supportive when he first heard the podcast. He'll probably tell you a little bit about it and what he likes and what he doesn't like. He's one of the most critical people I know, so I could bring him on to
only to you.
get a little constructive criticism, because I haven't been getting a whole lot of constructive criticism in the feedback. So I've gotten lots of kudos, which has made my head blow up 10 times, and
People are too supportive these days.
I have fans, and I know they are. I mean, I did tell him I'm a little bit sensitive in the last podcast, an
Yeah.
hour and 20-minute talk about
just
myself.
once you get bigger,
You haven't heard that yet, though.
I haven't listened to number 5. I listened to 1 through 4. But I feel like right now the only people that listen are people that already know you and
Yeah.
are close to you. So they're not gonna pop in the comments and be like, "Dude, this sucks. You should quit."
You should quit.
Once you get big enough to where like your audience is people who don't know you personally, that's when it'll get mean. Because there's no, like, what's that Mike Tyson quote? People got too comfortable being able to say whatever they want online and not getting punched in the face for it.
I think that's right.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's like,
Liv is really, really scared for that. She's really worried that I'm going to drop some views or something like that are like going to get me
oh,
just absolutely annihilated.
you'll
And
like drop one episode that just people don't like.
Yeah.
You know, like you're gonna get a
I'll
tweet.
I'll
or
get canceled.
You're gonna get DM'd. Hey, I unfollowed you on Spotify. Okay, that last episode sucked. I'm out.
Yeah, and I'm more worried about people just clashing with how I view the world. But at the same time, as long as I keep the podcast upbeat, and I mean, honestly, I just wanted to be a positive force. I needed a positive force where I can talk about what I'm dealing with, but then also bring other people up, because it brings me up when I get to hang out with cool people,
Right.
talk about their life, hear what they have going on, and realize, look, we're all humans. We're all just trying to figure out what we want to do.
Everyone's got a different perspective.
Yeah, everyone's got a different perspective, but as long as I think it's easier to listen to people with different perspectives if everyone wants the best for everybody.
Right.
And I think that's where you have to start off with is I want the best for whoever is listening to this or whoever's sitting in that hot seat.
Yeah.
And that's like why it's such a great thing. All right, not to get too serious. Quinn's on here to really lighten up the mood because it's been a little dark.
That's the idea. I figured if you're going to keep going forward with this, you're going to just be interviewing influential, famous world changers, rich, affluent.
You're going to go ahead and get your piece of pie now?
I'm none of those things, right? So I'm like the baseline. I'm here to keep it real. The rest of the guests are going to be up here, and I'm going to be like, hey, this is what poor people think of what you're doing, okay? For those of us who aren't going somewhere, here's my view. I'm going to step in here for the blue collar, for the downtrodden, the peasants, the serfs, the illiterate, and the illegible.
Illiterate and the illegible. Yeah, that...
You need a reality check. Look what happens to every person who starts like a good podcast, and then they get big, and they stop talking to like... the pores.
The pores.
Okay? If all you hang out with is like Hollywood, 1%ers, your view on the world's going to start to change. You're going to be like, you know what? None of my friends in the past 6 months have complained about a hospital bill. So that problem must just be gone. Like it's not, no one's bothered by it anymore. Okay? So then you got to bring someone back on that goes, yeah, I ate bologna sandwiches for 2 weeks because I had to get my teeth cleaned. Okay? It still happens.
I'm hoping that I actually kind of hang. I mean, I'm cool with the bologna sandwiches as long as people are excited about getting more for their life.
They're not just. You can't come on the podcast if you're content. Don't come on my show if you're happy with where you're at in life. Yeah. Unless you're driving forward, I don't want to hear about it.
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, there's a contentedness that you're supposed to have to where you could live on bologna sandwiches every day.
Right, but you should have a drive to push forward.
But you should have a drive to eat spaghetti at least once a week.
And not from a can. Not from a can. Okay, that sauce needs to be homemade.
Yeah. And then a T-bone maybe once every 2 months or something.
Yeah, that's nice. That's good.
You know, I think that's fair. And then also just as technology goes forward, and I think food should get more, even cheaper, but we'll see what happens.
It should, but...
Should.
You got 20 years until you're on protein synthesized steak only.
We're just going to be eating pills.
You're going to be eating...
Getting your pills.
Mashed roach. Bug protein.
There's a ton of companies popping up, speaking of which, that are just capitalizing on bug protein, which I think it was maybe a thing already corporately, but now there's like smaller companies, hipster companies that are like using that as their marketing, like grasshopper.
It's like it's the food of the future, supposedly,
because it's so cheap to produce. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's like the.
I watched Hidalgo. You can eat a locust.
Yeah, you can, but a lot of people do. But it's like the amount of energy required to put in that you get back out is way. The ratio is way better on bugs than a cow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because like there's probably water tables and all that other stuff. Now, we're not gonna crap on the cattle industry.
Never.
In this podcast.
Beef till I die. I don't care what it takes.
I don't care what it takes.
There's two ways to look at being alive right now. Mm-hmm. As I don't know if I'm Gen Z or millennial. I think I'm a Gen Z.
Yeah.
But it's like nobody's gonna fix the world. Okay, we got 40 years. So are you gonna spend your time complaining about fixing the world? Or are you just gonna ride it? You know, where are you gonna go with this?
Boom.
You're gonna stay mad that big corpos are trashing it?
No, get out there and get a slice.
Either fix it,
learn something from them.
Get your piece of the pie.
Yeah, yeah. Learn something from them. Get that market share. Get that market share.
Get that market share.
Get your money up.
Dinero, 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 dinero.
Hey, so we just got done. Well, where do you want to start? I got some notes here, and I'll just go ahead and go over this for the audience because this is going to be, like I said, this is a fun podcast today.
Yeah, I think I said everything I wanted to step in with.
Well, hold on here. We got monetized.
You got monetized.
Yeah.
I don't make any money from this.
Okay, well, I got monetized. Yeah. So if there's ever a Anchor advertisement before the podcast or some other company before the podcast, we're playing around with these ads. I don't know how this is going to work, but we got monetized.
I think it'll just do like the automatic. It'll just automatically like
put a clip.
Yeah. But I think they have software that kind of reads where, because
They have to.
Whenever I'm listening to a podcast where they don't do their own ad inserts,
Yeah.
it seems to always land pretty naturally in a dead spot. Like might just be a break in the sentence, but it never cuts someone off mid-word.
Yeah.
So it'll be like right now, and like I stop.
Well, on the back end of my thing on Anchor, I just upload my audio, and then if you upload it in snippets, you can put sponsorships before and after. But because I do everything in one take,
Right,
and I upload one file, I'm so sorry. I upload one file. I'll edit that out.
leave it.
It's just a burp.
Keep it raw.
I don't know why I'm so finicky about that, but because I only upload one file, I can only put a ad sponsorship before and after each podcast. So I need to now consciously decide, am I going to break this up into multiple files and put ad sponsorship
in between
spaces in between?
Yeah.
To try to get
I
more
think
money per ad. I don't know. I have no idea how to do that.
Yeah.
Yet.
I think the best way to do it, and like Liv was saying last night, you got to be careful with the ads because it's like that reflects on you.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I think the best way to do it is if you can get like in contact with the company and you like what they're about and you like their product
and then
you
do it
like their
myself.
mission statement. Yeah. And then you do the ad read.
Yeah.
I think that keeps it the most real. But then you have to be even pickier because when you do a personalized ad read, you're telling your audience, hey, this is something I actually like and use.
Let's hold on here. Let me pull up some analytics. I mean, it's not much. It does not take much to get sponsored on Anchor.com. That's where I'm posting everything to.
That's yours. That called
So far, we have this is a terrible analytics app because it's not updated. It typically takes quite a while to update because I've had a lot of people tell me they're listening,
right,
and it doesn't show any new listens for at least a day sometimes.
Maybe they're just lying to you.
Yeah. Well, it says I have 112 total plays and 22 established audience. But to get monetized, you have to have 50 authentic listeners, meaning I assume different IP addresses, or it could potentially
Different
be
accounts.
Different accounts, actual logged in.
So established listeners has got to be followers, right?
I don't know. It doesn't show me followers. I'm still learning all of those things in the back end. But I've so far not made any money. It's just that I am able to be monetized now.
The fact that social media management now has its entire own college course terrifies me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, that means these social media companies have built out complete system. I mean, like, everyone knows this, but when you stop and think about it, it's kind of scary. It's like you build a whole career about just reading data from what people post online, and that's your job.
Yeah.
And you figure out how to make those numbers bigger.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to, I don't know.
Oh, and they are absolutely 110% listening. I've listened to a lot of podcasts about monetization and working on ads and all of that stuff.
Right.
I don't understand the back end of Anchor yet. That's
Yeah.
the things I'm confused about. I completely understand monetization and how to make that work, sell sponsorships, purchase sponsorships, how to market an account and everything. But the data that they are collecting on you, 110%, they are they are listening to your microphone. Because the other day I was sitting in a cafe with one of my real estate partners.
Yeah.
And then, with Zach and then his dad. So we were sitting there and I was talking about purchasing a Matthews bow, a very specific Matthews bow for archery season.
Compound bow?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The next day or 2 days later, Matthews bow shows up on my Facebook feed.
Yeah.
I've only ever said a Matthews bow specifically once in my life around my phone.
And you never searched it?
Because I was a Hoyt guy before that.
Right.
So.
I don't know anything about bows. I
don't really either, but I'm just saying. And I didn't search it. I didn't do anything like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, because a lot of people are saying, and that's why I'm saying I listen to a lot of these ad podcasts. They say, no, they can just guess what you're going to have, like what you're going to be thinking about, what you're going to want based on previous search results. No, I did not search that. I buy that in a store. I had not looked
You've never typed it in.
Haven't done any kind of research on it. Off the cuff, I was like, yeah, I might get a Matthews bow.
They're definitely doing it. I agree.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's where I probably step away from most people. People think like, okay, they're listening for detrimental purposes, right? Like they want to know
detrimental,
like bad reasons. It's like, oh, big government's listening in. They want to know my secrets. They want to know, They want to know this and that. Here's the deal.
I don't think they even care about that. Yeah.
If you have paid taxes in the past 20 years,
Yeah.
at least, they have everything they need to know about you. All right. They know your social security number. Via the post office, the federal government can legally find your address. Easy. All this stuff is so accessible to them. They don't need to listen in on your phone.
Patriot Act.
Yeah. Okay, but they don't even need to do that now because no one realizes how much information they just give out.
Oh yeah.
They don't even. And they're like, oh my god, I tried to sign up for whatever healthcare is the one I'm supposed to sign up for. I still haven't done it. Whatever. But just by going to a federal government website, entering my information to start the process to think about getting insurance, I get 6 phone calls a day and like 10 text messages from private third-party insurance brokerages, not even agencies, just people that help you find insurance policies.
Oh, so they're scrubbing those.
Yeah, as soon as you think like, you sign up for a I don't know, some random BS website with a fake email address, you think that's bad? The federal government is selling your information to third-party insurance brokerages, third-party companies. Yeah, they're just handing that out.
Yeah.
So you think Facebook and Twitter and all these other companies are the only people selling your data?
Yeah.
The U.S. government is giving your data away to private companies, to privately owned businesses. They're handing out
I believe it. I don't think there's anybody without a digital footprint unless you've just never had a social media account, you've never done anything.
Yeah.
But if you filled out any kind of online electronic submission form for any kind of sign up,
any form in general, because you could just fill out a paper form, like you could put your social security number. I just had a really hard time not saying my social security number right there. That's bad. But like, you just fill out a form and you give it to a company or like the doctor's office and they enter it online into their data bank. And now you have a digital footprint that you didn't even know you created.
Yeah. It's crazy. Okay. Anyways, we're supposed to talk about this. Hold on here. Hold on.
Oh, sorry. You got points.
Yeah. I had points and I wanted to.
And I forgot to make, if I can just really quick.
Oh, yes.
These big companies and the corporations and stuff, they're not listening in on your data because they want to hurt you. They want to make more money.
That's what I think too.
That's it.
That was the point I was going to make. I think. Okay. I think inadvertently they will
hurt you.
Absolutely. As they try to strive for bigger markets and everything.
Right.
And they sell sell data to people that there are people out there that do not like the way America is set up. And they do not like the kind of things that it stands for. So, but I think that eventually it'll sell out that way just because of money reasons. But
I think it's more just like they're collecting this data, but they're not using it. It's the people they give it to.
That's why we got to just decide. Be positive forces. We just have more good people producing great content.
Yeah,
because producing great platforms to create great content.
This is the other thing too. It's like a private company just decides your whole flow of income. There's so much to get into. Wow,
so much.
This is gonna be a long one. I'm excited.
Well, let's try to keep it. I brought you on for funny stuff.
Okay, 4
People know
hours.
you as a funny guy. They don't know you as a smart guy. Come on. Just kidding. You're a smart guy.
I dropped out of college.
So did Prill. Look at him.
Doing good.
Doing well.
Doing good.
Doing well.
That was the first one of your podcasts where I listened and I was like, all right, this could go somewhere.
That was the only. So that was that was the only interview so far. But here's the points that we're going to go over today.
Yeah,
here's some thoughts for topics.
Okay.
We got monetized. Just discussed that. This is our Merry After Christmas thing.
Yes.
It's our little Christmas special. You got exposed in the Prill podcast, and you wanted to redeem yourself.
Yes.
I was like the first thing he brought up, and then he realized that you were my brother.
Yeah. Just kind of. Sure.
And then you shared this. I want to see if you got any reactions from other people or why you shared it.
Oh,
and then hold on, we still got more. You have some critiques.
Yes.
Okay, there's some things that you want to call out. You wanted more. You wanted like me to dig in more on that Prill podcast on some things like relationships.
Yes.
For some reason, I put we got monetized again.
You seem really excited about that one. Maybe it's because you were trying to set up a bank account at 1 a.m. last night, running around the house. What's my account number? Hey, who knows my account number? I think I can make like 3 cents on ads tonight. Like, let's go.
Excited. And then things that you like about this pod so far, like that should continue, things that should be going forward.
Yeah. Because
you are the pores, so I have to. No, just kidding.
It's true. So it's true. I am the pores. I speak for the pores.
So you're my study group, control group.
I'm the control group.
You want to talk about your fitness, clean
Yeah,
living,
absolutely.
your work,
Sure.
maybe our life growing up. Okay. Your last year.
It's been big.
Okay. And then to get touchy, life since dad. Ooh.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then goals. And then learn life. And then I didn't just have a stroke. Did you hear what I said?
No.
I said I made it really quiet. I said got a girl in your life.
Oh.
Question mark. But I was like, all right. And then what did you think about our Mexican Christmas?
Oh my god. Okay, so which one of those points were you gonna start with?
Yeah,
You just read me all the points. Now grab one.
Grab one?
Yeah.
What do you think about your Mexican Christmas, man? You gotta hang out with the in-laws.
I love Christmas every year with them. Because I think we've been doing Christmas with them for 3 to 4 years, probably.
I think so, yeah.
It's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
So much fun. That's a family that knows how to they know what Christmas is about.
Yeah.
They're like, we're all gonna get together, gonna eat for 3 days straight. Everyone here's the one thing I do love. When you have that many people in a room,
Yeah.
everyone is very, I feel like most families everyone's kind of anxious about opening presents.
Yeah.
And it turns into too much of a spotlight thing. And it's like the gift giver wants gratification.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But when we go to their party, 5 minutes, you just throw the packages to everybody. Okay?
Right.
Everyone gets all their presents.
They all open
and you
at
just
once.
say go. And everyone just starts, and you're fighting to tell people thank you. Like, Tia Brenda, gracias. You're waving your new shirt above the crowd. Like, I love it. I love this. And then it's done in 15 minutes. You put on your new coat, you try everything out while everyone else is busy.
It's a lot of clothes too.
It is, those are good gifts.
What you want, as an adult growing up.
I'm actually kind of disappointed that I haven't got any socks this year.
Oh, I got socks. I could split mine with you.
I don't want your gifts. That's weird. Were they wool socks?
No.
All right, yeah, no.
I'm out.
I don't want them.
They are the wicking ones, the moisture wicking cotton ones. But I think there's something. I don't know. Polyester.
I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Polyester sounds terrible.
I'm trying to go all wool, even in the summertime.
Man,
Just thin wool, thin merino
it
wool.
doesn't smell near as bad.
No.
I mean, the best thing about wool is how little
It's naturally antibacterial.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what creates the smell, by the way, on you and your clothes.
Yeah.
Listeners, listen in. This is important. I feel like a lot of you greasy and sweaty people. Just kidding. Can't offend the listeners. Anyways.
Yeah, these are my fans, man. You've already called them the pores, bro.
I said some of them I'm here to represent the pores that do listen. Okay? Balance.
Did you hear me release how much money I have for operating cash?
And then I heard you take it down.
I got rid of the savings part.
Smart.
I panicked. I panicked.
Well, because I was laughing because you said, I don't think I'm going to ever, I'll tell you what I got in my checking account.
I'll never tell you what my savings Yeah, I realized
it's not even a flex,
at that point. Yeah, I probably shouldn't.
Anyways, to finish the wool rant, okay? Naturally antibacterial. And wool retains its insulation properties even if it's wet. Okay, so you sweat too hard, you jump in a lake, it'll still keep you warm. Anyways. Mexican Christmas.
You're my only brother, so I don't have anyone else to compare this to. But you just you get a topic and you're just like, I'm gonna drill in on this, and if it's gonna come across, and if it doesn't come across,
I'm here to share knowledge, learn what I've learned. No, but yeah, you were saying the Christmas with the fam.
Yeah,
games.
Yeah,
food.
Yeah,
más cervezas.
Yeah,
everyone's having fun.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's been a lot of. You told me in the last podcast that I needed to quit with the yas, so I just through that whole sentence. Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, you betcha.
Yeah, yeah.
I caught myself doing it a couple minutes ago. You say when you were going through the talking points.
It's hard to do it or hard not to do that when you're actually excited and into the conversation.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that goes. But
the word is now banned. I'm trying to get it out of my head.
Yeah, yeah. Just wipe it. See, exactly. We're such affirmative people.
Yeah.
We'll say affirm.
I don't know if I like that better. Affirmative. Copy that.
Roger.
Christmas. It's good.
They've
They brought the joy of Christmas back to me. We had good Christmases as kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then when everyone started to like
Get older.
go their own ways, I moved out of town.
Got a lot tougher.
Yeah.
Got a lot tougher. Yeah.
We just split up and did less stuff together.
Yeah. No, it's super, super joyful. It's fun. It's loud. A lot of
Which
beer,
I like.
Which you like. Yeah. And there's a lot of people, so you can kind of hop around the room and talk to different people and hang out with different people. And
I feel like that's just something like a lot of people our age, everyone thinks like they're figuring something out. And what I've come to realize is it's just part of growing up.
yeah. Yeah. It's been figured out. It's been, or not figured out. It's just this is your first time experiencing it, but people have been doing it for years.
Everyone is a teenager. I mean, a lot of people as a teenager or like in that age are like, oh, I want to spend time with my family.
Yeah.
I just want to sit in my room and like with
Get
my
all
days
moody.
off and do my thing. And, and then once you start to get a little older, you're like, wow, I like having these close people around. That, like, I don't have to worry about climbing the social ladder in this environment, so to speak.
Yep. Yeah. There's nothing to prove. You're just family.
You're just having fun, cracking jokes.
It's nice to have family that you can just hang out with.
And practicing my Spanish. I feel like you hang out with those guys for 3 days. Imagine, how much you learn in 3 days of a foreign language by just picking it up. Imagine if you just stayed over there for like a month. You'd probably be fluent.
Oh, if you're actively talking and as social as you and me, yes.
I mean, I noticed this year, everyone can talk to you in Spanish and you know what they're saying. Well,
yeah,
for a decent part of it.
Yeah, I got a decent portion.
If they talk slow.
They talk slow, and my other issue is we were taught Spanish in high school, and I did a couple, at least a couple years worth. But it was formal Spanish. It's and formal Spanish is way different than like Northern Spanish of Mexico.
If your Spanish has the lisp, not cool. Yeah. Get that out of here. And what are you, a snake? I don't like it.
It's just life for some people. Quinn.
Too bad. It's wrong. I was what we dropped.
I don't know. Sounds like some people just showed up here at the house. So we'll see if the feedback noise gets any crazier, and if it does, then we'll maybe have to pause and come back to this later. But
get some waffles.
But we should go make some waffles. That does sound good. Need to quit doing the uhs and the ums.
Yes.
That was another critique.
Another thing that I thought was funny was Juan Pablo was saying the people that speak Spanish from like the DR, like Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, I think. He said they talk so fast that even like Mexican Spanish speakers will not understand them. But when Tio Juan starts speaking Spanish, like when he's excited, like what do you mean speak fast? Like this is fast.
Fast, yeah.
You're dropping like 140 words a minute. That's faster than people type. Like he's just rapid firing information out there.
Yeah, it seems like it. And that's the same way. Yeah, I had a teacher that I believe was from Colombia, and she did speak really rapidly there.
It's just so quick.
Yeah.
I mean, English, have you ever met an English speaker that talks that fast?
Oh, yeah. There's lots. We just don't notice it as much because
we just speak it.
Yeah, but you speak to people from Europe, from Great Britain or London, or like there's different sects that are like sects, SECTS.
Yes.
That are in the southern part of like Wales or whatever, and then farther up, they like cut up the language and like say half a word with another word and say it really fast.
Right.
And I think that's probably similar to what Colombians do or Dominicans do.
Yeah, they're just like chopping words.
Chopping
like
words
the slang.
up,
The slang makes it faster.
And then they're saying it even faster and faster and faster. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that's a similar comparison.
That makes sense.
Because I don't understand Spanish well enough to determine that, but it seems like that when I'm just listening.
Yeah,
so.
That's my vocab is like okay. I can read a word, pronounce it. It's for me it's the grammar.
Yeah,
it's like structuring
grammar
a sentence.
Sucks. Yeah,
it's like I know mal is bad. Okay, suerte is luck. Right?
Yeah.
So if I want to say bad luck, I would just say mal suerte.
Yeah,
but like you are bad luck. I would say like tu mal suerte because those are the base words. But you have to conjugate that into a sentence. It's tienes mala suerte. No idea how to do that.
It's not tienes mala suerte. That would be I have bad luck in the formal, I believe. See, let's not embarrass ourselves here.
See? Okay. Vocab. Got that down.
There will be fluent
Spanish speakers listening to this. Call me. You do discount tutors? What's up?
Yeah. So, anyways,
fire a point at me.
Yeah, that was good. That was a good Christmas. It was a lot of fun. You got some jackets. You got a beanie.
You got
a vest.
I got a nice vest. I got a Carhartt beanie. So now at work, I'm Carhartt head to toe.
Nice.
Except for my boots. I don't think Carhartt makes boots.
No, we need to get paid for that. Let's not be repping any brands here. Just kidding. I was kidding.
I'm trying my best not to swear. It's a big thing.
Honestly, it's fine if you swear. I'm just gonna bleep it out. I'm gonna keep a lot of people like Prill asked that too. Jonah asked that if he could swear in this podcast, and I was like, I don't really care because I'm gonna clean it up in post.
Make it tasteful.
Yeah, make it tasteful. It has to be for a reason. And
yeah.
I caught myself, man. I had a foul mouth. Still.
I feel like this is a good way to fix it.
Yeah,
is just talk for an hour and then play it back to yourself. I'm like, how many times do I drop the F-bomb in a sentence? Yeah. I don't think I've done it once yet.
No.
Pretty impressive because at work, where I work, you can't say more than 2 words without slipping some sort of slur in
same
there.
With trucking and when we were cowboying and stuff and all that. Yeah. No, it's gotta work on that. It's just something that you fall into. It's a bad habit you fall into. But another point. Let's see here. You got exposed on the Prill podcast.
I did get exposed on the Prill. You want to tell that story?
Do you want to start with that, or do you want to talk about that podcast first, like what you liked, what you didn't like?
Yeah, let's do that, and then we can
then you can get into it because I think people want to hear that.
I'm sure they do. Everyone wants to hear that story.
But I mean, if you don't want to tell it, that's fine because then you'll still have like some kind of mystery about you with the girls at the bar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I actually try to not bring that one up because then they're like, this guy has poor decision making. Let's get into the Prill podcast because that was
you listened to it, you liked it.
I listened to it on the drive here, actually from Bozeman to Billings. I just revealed where I live. I guess you already did that. So
there's been a lot of information exposed here.
I guess that's just part of it.
That whole like number 5 podcast, I pretty much in the beginning was like, there's going to be a ton of secret questions.
Okay.
That you could answer from the information you gained in this.
Don't try my passwords, please. I listened to the Prill podcast on my way back from Bozeman, and I thought it was fantastic, man. I thought it was amazing. I listened, and that was your 3rd, right? So the first...
No, that was my 4th.
Was it your 4th?
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah.
I had 1, 2, 3. That was all solo.
Because you sent me the first 2, and I didn't get a chance to listen to them until you put the 3rd up, and then I think I listened to all 3 in a day, just because I had time that day. Mm-hmm. And like the first, like you said, pretty rough, a lot of ums, sound quality wasn't quite there. Second got better, got cleaner, but the second was when you... You split 2, or like
I had
you just
2 different recordings from 2 different days.
Yeah, and you put them together. Didn't like that.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing like a little, I don't know, quote read that you're gonna slide in there, like a little excerpt. That's fine. But I think putting 2 together was weird for me. 3 was definitely your best. I love 3. It was like clean, beginning to end. Sound quality was good. Could have used a little more structure, maybe. I guess we're just gonna roll this in with the critiquing. And then 4, you interview with Jonah Prill. I thought that was really good. I thought that was cool because everyone does like an interview podcast when they're starting out with their friend. It's like, oh, I've got and then they try to like build it up. Oh, he knows this and this and this. You know, this guy is a big name in field you've never heard of that probably isn't real because they just want to sound like they've been podcasters for a while. Mm-hmm. It's like guys saying like, oh, he runs this company and his company is like him and his dog. And he got an LLC. It's like, and he's been in this industry for 6 years.
5 companies.
But you know what I mean, though? People try to like sell that.
Yeah.
But you were good at interviewing. You were good at bringing up points. I could tell you had a list of stuff you wanted to talk about. And Jonah is actually outstanding in his field.
Yeah.
Take that as a pun.
In like every post.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's like he's someone who's actually walking the talk. Like he is big in his social media presence. He does have a big TikTok presence. He does have a big Instagram presence. He has moved through like all those levels. Like he's got clout. He's got some songs. He's got some records cut. So he knows what it's about. And obviously he's, got a long way to go.
Yeah.
But it was cool that you actually were able to get someone on who knows they're talking about, has experienced it, and they're not just trying to sit behind a mic and talk like they, to make the podcast sound better.
Yeah.
I love that. That was awesome.
We're just trying to be authentic and as much as possible.
And it came across as that.
Yeah.
Critiques, because I'm your brother. Let your guest speak, which you're doing great today. But also you have to, because I'm your brother, and I will just override you in a conversation.
It's all part of practice for me. I think it's Okay. You said
No,
let
no.
you guest speak, but if this is a natural place to step in.
You just gotta read. You gotta.
Right.
That's the hard part. Is you gotta stay. For me, even like not spacing out while I'm here.
Right. And because, well, and sometimes it looks like I might be spacing out. I'm actually
gotta
monitoring my levels while he's talking.
That'll get better once you get a producer. We're in the big time.
Yeah.
And you can just talk.
Yeah.
But
what I was going to say was with Jonah, because that was the first interview, he didn't really know. He listened to all my podcasts prior.
right.
But we didn't really have a baseline for who the podcast was about. We sat down and kind of winged it a little bit.
Right.
And I was attempting to kind of just get my spin on it in there a little bit, just so that I think it comes probably from an insecurity level, is like, well, maybe not. I talk like that naturally too. I'm always trying to relate things to people.
Right.
And I think it was just so that I just want to try to add my personality in there, so that it was a custom thing. And Jonah is going to go and have tons of interviews with a lot of other other people, and I just wanted mine to stand out a little bit, so I was talking. And then also, Jonah doesn't really know. It's not like there's a hierarchy, but he doesn't know when he can push back on me and shut things down, or say, hey, this would be better for the podcast if you let me talk, or whatever. And it's hard to do that in real time with someone you don't have a lifelong relationship with.
Yeah.
So bringing you on, it's like, this is a great practice for me.
Because we've been talking for years.
Yep. And
quite a few.
So we have no issue with stepping in and interjecting and calling each other out on that.
Right.
So that's why it's so great for a person to interview someone they're extremely familiar with, or someone that they've only known for, truly, I've only known Jonah for maybe a month and a half, like intimately.
But you're going to have to get good at that, because you're going to give people, like, if this does go somewhere, you're going to get people that are in town for a day, and they're like, and they DM you, hey man, I want to record today. What, you got time? And you might not know them at all, but you do a quick background check. You're like, this guy's got something to say. Get him on.
Yeah. So that's what I'm going to have to
practice. Conversation is a skill,
take time.
everybody. Conversation is a skill, and it's one you need to learn if you want to get anywhere.
Yeah.
The quietest guy in the room, you can work as hard as you want, but like you were talking about, if you don't know how to market yourself, no one's going to notice your work. That's just the reality, because there's 30 other people that can work just as hard as you, and they're willing to go talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the podcast though, I think you need to decide when you have guests on, is that episode about the guest, or is it about the guests wanting to be in on what you're doing?
That's a good point.
When you do an interview, when you do a guest episode, is it still about you and they're just there to add some input, or is it about the guest?
Yeah.
I mean, and you could do it so, hey, I brought on, not like you'd ever do this, but it's like, I brought on my therapist. This show is still about me. My therapist is here to do the show with me and talk about me with me.
Yeah.
Or is it, I brought my guest on and I want you guys to learn about my guest?
Yeah.
And you can go either way. I think obviously, like, you letting your listeners learn about your guest is probably going to be like come off better PR wise.
Well, and that's
than having someone come on to talk about you.
Yeah. No. I 110% want it to be like that. So I need to make sure that, because that's the whole point, is I recognize that I've just started over a ton. I feel like I've never really been successful in any one thing enough to give advice on some things. However, all I do is research and look at other people's cases and try to take into account what did they do to get it done. And I'm just trying to figure out a way to share that. And the whole point of bringing Jonah Prill on, or other people like Prill, or just people that I admire in general, is where they've found success in their life. I want to bring that to the forefront, how they've done it, why they've done it, and use it as a case study.
Yeah. So you gotta like work on letting them share.
Yeah.
And I think I said this last night, maybe, or the other day when we were talking. You don't have to relate to everything the guest says.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're going to bring on, and you should, if you want this to be a truthful and honest podcast, or like a recording or knowledge sharing, whatever, you at some point are going to have to bring on people who have different viewpoints from you. Even if they're like very different viewpoints, you're going to have them on at some point, and you're not going to be able to relate to them at all. I mean, there's always a way to find common ground, and you should try to find common ground because that's just going to build conversation. But they're going to say a lot of things where you're like, man, someone might have, I grew up in an abusive home with a single parent. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to be like, oh yeah, I had a thing like that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So you can't always jump in and be like, I had a similar experience like that. I
was not an inner city Bronx kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very far from
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. No, rural America, whatever, 110%. And I think I have to bring on.
Yeah.
100. Yeah. I have to. If I want to be a better person, I have to take into account there are other perspectives out there, and I can learn a lot from all of them.
That's a big thing about knowledge sharing that I've found is talk to anybody. Don't be afraid to talk to anybody unless they're crazy. Sometimes that's still fun.
Yeah.
But the more you see, the better. Mm-hmm. And you only have one set of eyes, right? That's what makes people so incredible, is you can send 3 guys out to look for you, and then they can come back and tell you what they saw. Mm-hmm. And now you didn't have to go do that yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you want to go primal with it, you just save like 6,000 calories by being able to talk.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's what makes us good.
Yeah. Perspective and understanding that stuff is really great. So
is she really taking a phone call out there on speaker while we're recording? I put a recording sign up. There's a recording live sign. That's wonderful. When's the soundproof box get here?
I need to figure out how to foam up this room.
Well, it doesn't help that you have a giant wooden sliding door.
Yeah, that's why the curtain was there, right, trying to knock that down a little bit. I just need help soundproofing.
100% cotton towels.
Really?
100% cotton towels just buy a canvas frame and stack like 8 cotton towels, like iron them out so they look clean, and then staple them around the back like you were stretching canvas.
Really?
And just hang them on the walls.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's sound absorption, so you'd want to put them on like the back side of the door or something. Because it's not going to give you like an anechoic chamber.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to say that word, but it will cut noise. Yeah. It's a really good sound absorber.
Well, so the situation right now is Mom just came over. We didn't get to open Christmas presents and stuff with our immediate family yesterday, or my immediate family, Mom and Liv and Quinn. So she popped over this morning. We're going to do that in a little bit, and that'll be fun.
Waffles.
Waffles. We're supposed to be making waffles right now, and I smell bacon.
Yeah.
So I think what we're going to do right now, I think we should pause this.
Should we? Okay.
We'll come back later.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be here for a little bit today.
I'm trying to stay in town as long as possible.
Okay, cool.
I got the car hopped up. She's running on cetane. Doesn't matter if it hits -10. Quick interjection. If you want to experience life, do 110 down the interstate in a car with a full gauge cluster of warning. Intermission. We're back, and I'm still here. It is 10:52 p.m. It has been more than 12 hours since we took an intermission. It's -2. The roads have gone to hell, and I'm spending the night. So we're gonna have a boys' night. We kind of already did.
We kind of like
this is part of it.
Yeah,
this is fun. So.
Yeah. Oh, this is fun.
I enjoy it.
Yeah. Did you say this isn't fun?
I would never say this isn't fun.
I thought you said this isn't fun.
No, this is fun.
Okay, good.
This is part of the boys' night.
I enjoy it too.
Christmas Day 3, pretty much.
Yeah, because Christmas Eve starts.
Christmas Eve is just part of Christmas.
Yeah.
That whole day, at least the way we do it, that's just tied in.
Yeah.
And so after we stopped for breakfast, presents, you can see I got this wonderful mug that makes my eyes pop from Uniquely Molded. Check them out on Instagram. They make great stuff. I love all their work. If you want a ceramic gift for your honey, for your boo, for your significant other, pick one up. It's good stuff. Support local business.
It's true. My wife makes fantastic mugs.
You didn't have to tell me it was your wife. It seemed way cooler. It seemed like I might have been sponsored for a second there.
It does look good.
It looks great. This is fantastic.
Yeah, you got to open that up for your Christmas present today because we didn't open those gifts till today.
Not important. Oh, boy. All right, we'll be careful.
Man.
All right.
Get that plosive thing a little bit farther away from your face, too, please. There you go.
Did you call it a plosive?
Yeah, your plosives. Yeah, bring up your plosives. Anyways, so
we're back.
Yeah. What do we do today? So we went and did breakfast.
Waffles, bacon, eggs. Fresh
second
fruit.
or third Christmas.
Third day of Christmas.
Third day of
It's not-
Christmas. And then games. Played some Exploding Kittens. And zombies. We played zombies. Call of Duty zombies.
Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies.
Which is really aggravatingly hard.
Yeah, because my best memories with Call of Duty Zombies is original Call of Duty World at War Zombies, where you got a Browning and an MG42 and you sat in the corner and tried to get past level 35, just like you said, holding left trigger and right trigger.
Yep.
And this one you got to move around. You got to find Easter eggs.
It's really hard to even find decent guns.
And this game is already 6 years old.
Yeah.
8.
At least. We're playing on an Xbox 360.
God bless. This is the best game console ever made.
Yeah.
I still have mine.
We're going to lose followers because of that, but there's a bunch of PS5 guys on this thing or something.
I mean, we're both PC Master Race now. Actually, I don't even play video games now.
Yeah.
Like, I tried
I'll play some games.
I try, but I'll play like 2 matches. And since I used to be like, I used to be good and I used to be like competitive at it.
Yep.
Now that I'm not good, I can't handle it.
I'm like playing all the time. It's hard now.
Yeah. I'm not a 13-year-old anymore on summer break.
Yeah.
Who can like just
lay down the hours.
do reps of Halo Reach SWAT day after day.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
I'll still 1v1 anybody.
Yeah.
DM me. Let's go. Line it up.
So what were we talking about?
So we were talking about, we were getting into Jonah Prill's podcast and like what I thought about it.
Yeah.
One of the critiques on it.
Yep.
And I think when we left off, oh man, I just lost it. I just had it. We were halfway through. What are your notes?
It's clearly a little bit later on. If you're watching the video version of this, kind of spacing out here a little bit.
Play it back.
Yeah,
We're talking about knowledge sharing, how amazing it is, how good people are, how you had to bring on people with different. I got it.
I will need to eventually. Yeah.
You're going to need to bring on people with different perspectives, but mainly we were talking about. I think I was saying you need to let your guests speak more.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
And not try to relate to them so hard. Mm-hmm. And like just be willing to let them share their experience, and you just try to understand it and not relate to it. Because I think you have to hear it first, try to understand it. And some people understand through relating, but I think for your listeners, it'd be better if you just let them speak. Because when you have a guest on, you are like standing in place for the listener. When you're bringing a guest on, you should be trying to ask questions that you think your listeners would want to ask. You know what I mean, though?
Yeah.
It's like, it is, you still have to bring your perspective to it, but you kind of have to 50-50 it. It's like, what do you want to know about your guest?
Yeah.
But also like, I think a lot of people want to know this about you. So I'm going to ask you this question. You know, most people want to know how.
Yeah, to kind of cater to their audience a little bit.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do. Like you said in the Jonah Prill podcast, he knows what sells to his audience, and he loves his audience, and he knows what they like. And you have to work. You still have to be true to yourself, but you need to work that in too. Mm-hmm. You know, what do they want to hear? You don't want to cut that noise. Nobody wants to hear that noise.
This morning my nose is pretty runny too, and I was looking around for a tissue like pretty seriously, and I couldn't find one.
I never had to blow my nose growing up. Maybe I just didn't. Maybe I was just a snotty kid. But like working outside all the time now.
All the time.
Snot rocket every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm a pro. It's like a distance game now. You lean back, here's a problem. If you got a beard and a mustache, you gotta hide that. Lob one out there. But when I get on the ski lift, I'm gonna be a lethal weapon. So if you're below me, look out. Yeah. Next talking point.
You said that prior to this podcast, you said you wanted to learn more about Jonah's relationships, I think.
That just sounds creepy when you phrase it like that. Yeah. Let me say what I wanted to say. I'm not trying to get dirt on. I'm not trying to be TMZ here. When you started to bring up relationships with Jonah, I didn't want to hear where you took it. You said, "Hey Jonah, like we're gonna talk. Like I wanted to hear about relationships. Like you said yourself, you've been learning about relationships and whatnot." I was like, "Oh, he's gonna talk about like interpersonal relationships. And then you just cut in and we're like, you got any girls in your life? I was like, I don't care personally. I don't care what girls he's talking to. I want to learn as a growing adult who's also managing this fame that's coming in. How do you manage real relationships with just anybody? Close friends, family members. Yeah, it's going to include significant others and girls, of course, or guys. But I wanted to hear about how someone like that still manages like friendships, family relationships. How does he still keep it real with his homies, so to speak? And I was like kind of disappointed because I was like, then it sounded like a paparazzi-ish. It was like, oh, you talking? We got any other celebrity? You talking to other TikTok stars? Like, have you ever tried to DM Addison Rae? Like, I don't care. I want to know how he keeps real friendships and relationships with real people in his life while still doing. Because I mean, everyone's seen that, right? Like, if you're a big Hollywood star, anytime you become a public figure, people immediately write you off as having a real personality. They're like, this guy's shallow. Everything he does, he's whoring out for views, clicks.
I literally
likes.
said that. I said whoring out. And my Liv was just like, did you just say whoring out? And
It's
I
a
was
thing.
like,
People do it.
yes. That is the oldest profession in the world.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I want to know how. I wanted you to get into like, how are your friendships? Type deal. It's like, do you still keep it real? Do you still talk about, just for instance, something I hear a lot about these days is obviously a very skewed statistic where I read it. Like, I'll go on Reddit and it'll be like an Ask Men thread, and some girl will be like, men, how do you express your emotions with your friends? And every comment at the top of the list is like, oh, I just don't. I don't do that. Like, I just cry at home alone by myself. I haven't had physical touch in years. Shit like that. Okay, so it's like dark stuff. But I think it's almost incelish. It's really bordering on like being an incel. But I don't have that with my friends. It's like anytime I'm in the car with my friends, the radio is usually off. Yeah, giggle. The radio is usually off, and we're like, okay, how do we do this week? Like, here's something that you did that bothered me. Like, here's what we need to work on. Like, if we want to go farther with what we're doing, maybe it's just something I've come into recently, but every time I hang out with my I'm not afraid to text any of my friends, Devin, Michael, Tor. I'll hit all of them up and be like, yo, and like, can we hang out? Like, I'm having a bad day, dude. Like, I'm really down. Something happened, and then when I hang out with them, I'll be like, yeah, this is just really on my mind. It's really bothering me. Maybe I'm lucky that I have friends that I can talk about stuff like that with, and it did kind of happen naturally. But I mean, I was at a point where you feel alone, but I feel like that's something. Listen, fellas, because seems to be a guy-centric issue. If you feel alone and you feel like you can't talk to anybody about your emotions, try it. Next time you hang out with your buddy, be like, yeah, man, bring it up casually. Like, hey, can I talk to you about something? You don't even have to hit him like that, because that sounds like you're at the school counselor. But just don't even ask. Here's a better idea. Don't even ask them. Just be like, dude, something happened to me this week, and it really upset me. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like, I'm going broke. I feel like my job isn't doing it for me. I'm mad. What would you do? Ask them what they would do. And the conversation starts there. And then it'll become more normal. And you can start talking to them about other stuff that's bothering you. You're like, oh, yeah, no, I know you were like talking to that other girl. I talked to this girl last week, and we talked about this one thing, and it just threw off my whole vibe. I don't know what to think about her. I don't know what to think about the situation. Just bring it up like you're questioning it and see what they would do. And then they're going to be more comfortable sharing with you, and you're going to build better friendships and relationships, in my experience. So I wanted to know if it's like that, if that's more common than I think it is, or if every guy is like, somebody please, let's just hold me at night. Like, I'm dying. You know what I mean? I wanted you to ask him that. Be like, Jonah, do you have close friends you can talk about these things with? Do you still manage like those personal relationships you have? Whether it's a small group or a pastor or just your buddies, when you go out to beers, are you only talking about the football game last week? Or can you also talk about, your personal goals, aspirations, and worries and fears? Yeah,
and in all seriousness, I actually did want it. Excuse me. I actually did want it to go that way. Or at least I thought I was going to go that way. And then to be kind of funny and lighten up the mood a little bit, I think halfway through that question is where I was like, you got a girl in your life? Yeah,
it.
just kind of roll into that. And I think that was a missed opportunity. And at some point, Joan and I did say that we want to, get back together, get back on, and do another one. And that was something I did want to do. On the other side of that, though, he was actually grateful that I asked about the relationship thing for girls, because that is, as you hear in the podcast, it's like 85% of his audience.
Right.
So because of that,
which, like you said, creates a perception.
Yeah. So I think there are going to be people that will listen to the podcast just to hear what his relationship status is, because those are the girls that are like, yeah, is he...
Do I have a shot?
I got a shot.
Could I DM him?
You got a shot at Addison Rae, Quinn? Probably not. You're under 30,000 followers.
I also don't have a TikTok.
And you don't have a TikTok.
Is that where she
got?
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe they started. I can't tell. A lot of people started on Vine.
Yeah,
and then they floated on YouTube.
Yep.
And then when TikTok came up, it just filled that gap perfectly. So I don't know where most of those people got started. I don't even know who most of the current TikTok stars are.
Yeah, I'm probably going to have to start posting things. Not have to, but I would like to post to TikTok because it does seem like an easier platform to become recognized on or to become found on.
Well, and I loved Vine. I thought Vine was like the greatest thing ever because I was probably like 12, 13. Like 13 or 14 when Vine got big. And I thought it was amazing. Some of the funniest stuff, because that's my kind of humor. And I remember like my friend group at the time in high school, it was like you had 7 seconds in class to crack a joke that killed everybody. Right? And like that was kind of the humor that I still have to this day, is like that awkward. I love the guys on Vine who just make these awkward, like out there Vines where it's just like, if you guys remember Evan Breen, it's like, yo, bro, you want to smoke some hops? It's like, what? You can smoke hops? Like just stupid stuff like that. Like that. And we still have, I went and hung out with some kids that I was friends with in high school. And that kind of humor clicked right back immediately. Just like seeing who could say the most wild out of context thing and slide it into a conversation. And it would still kill. You'd still be like, you just sit there like, what? Like that. Oh boy, you got hollow walls. That kind of stuff still clicks with me. So that's why I thought Vine was the best thing ever. And I'm probably staying off of TikTok because I'm afraid I'll find that vein again and I'll just never get out. Like I'll never leave TikTok. It's also Chinese spyware. So it's another big problem I have. It's Chinese spyware.
Yeah, it's addicting to watch. And the other thing I think about TikTok and why it is appealing to me though is because forever I've always wanted to do something with copyrighted music. I always have ideas for
which is the greatest
music videos or skits or whatever with copyrighted music.
The whole DMCA issue right now is something that I don't spend a lot of time thinking about. But I remember when we were making videos together, it was a huge issue.
Yeah.
Because me being more on the editing side, I think of like, I don't know how a lot of video editors work, but for me, is I always play it back in my head. I hear a song, and then I build my edit off the song, at least for B-roll heavy stuff. But even for like story content, I would make everything, I would find the music first and then flow the story to the music. Everything, because you can really build, like the Special K advert we did in the interview section. When like I found the one song, it was just perfect. And then I made, when I was editing, I made like the whole flow of the interview and the message go with the music.
Yeah.
And so when all you hear all day is music that's copyrighted, that's what in my head I'm going to automatically edit to. Be like, oh, I know a song. Like I'll see something, be like, this is a cool shot. And I know the song I would put it over. And now you can't.
No.
Or else everything you just made is worthless.
You can on TikTok.
You can on TikTok.
That's the thing that kind of is, I think that's the biggest pull for me, is the fact that you can have damn near any song you want and you can put it up on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they got the rights to it. I don't know if they just got enough money to just get samples of everything. Oh, granted, it's always a 30-second shot. You know, it's not a whole lot of. I guess there probably is some minute-long songs and stuff that you're able to use, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't looked into them much, and that's where TikTok creators are falling down. You have access to every song copyrighted ever. Quit following trends. There's some banger. When was the last time you saw a TikTok edit to like Wonderwall? All right.
Yep.
Dig in.
Yeah.
Some Barry White. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
It's all at your fingertips. Go deeper than the latest trend. Be the trendsetter.
The way that algorithm works, that algorithm will run people's lives more so than YouTube, though.
Really?
Oh, well, I mean, when I say that, I mean, it's like
having to follow trends, you mean?
you have to follow trends
That
for
sucks.
a pretty long time before your video will actually get shown to anybody, because it's all about that For You page. So
Oh, yeah.
that For You page, if only 10 songs are popping off, and it's, I don't know, understanding that algorithm, but I can already see how that algorithm is going to be much more grueling than how people complain about the YouTube algorithm.
And that was something I was talking about when we were this morning, how it's frightening how people's careers are completely decided by a piece of code written by a guy at Google.
Yeah. Well,
It's like-
he was the guy that can actually distribute their stuff.
Right. But it's scary because it's not as independent as people think it is. It's like, oh, I made it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess it can be, because if you make it, probably these days it shows that you knew how to work. It's probably less luck now than people think when you go viral. I would guarantee you that most people you think got lucky to go viral and hit it big were probably making, and I think you know this too, I'm sure you know this, they were probably making videos for at least 6 months to a year before that, trying to hit every trend, trying to follow every algorithm change. I'm sure the people that you think were like, oh, I can get famous on TikTok because this guy had one video go viral out of luck and he made it big. Because I guarantee if you go look at that person, they were making videos for at least 6 months to a year before that, working their cheeks off,
Yeah.
trying to get one to pop.
Yeah.
That's like Lil Nas X. You know why he made it big? Because this is something Josh Serafin told me. Shout out Josh Serafin. He explained it to me. He said Lil Nas X made a parody Twitter account for Nicki Minaj and got it to 30,000 followers doing like stupid parody tweets of Nicki Minaj. And when he hit like 32,000 followers, then he flipped it to a Lil Nas X account and started posting his own content. But he wasn't posting his music at first. The Vine was still big. And so he was making his own songs, and then he was making meme vines to his own music. So then his music, and then people would follow the trend like you do on TikTok. They would follow the trend of like, oh, this song makes really good music for a Vine. And so they weren't, they were using his songs to make Vines too. And then his music started to catch on. And then people were like, wait, who made this song? Like, oh, Lil Nas X made this song. Oh, he's already got 40,000 followers on Twitter. And that's how he did it. He wasn't cutting records right off the bat. He wasn't like, in Atlanta in a studio, like working with a producer. He did it himself off of a parody Nicki Minaj account.
That's a lot like what Zach is trying to do with the dog. The dog blew up on TikTok.
Right.
And Zach and
never seen
Jonah
those.
and I have been meeting up trying to figure out how to make more and more content for ourselves. And that was one of the things that we've discussed, is definitely figuring out how to put their music in the backgrounds, or is there a way to have a trend start, have the
that
followership first, and then finish with their song.
Yeah.
Start with a well-known song and then have it somehow switch in the middle and go to another song or something like that.
There's so many
But,
options now.
Yeah, the
Ways to do it.
leveraging social media is a much more, in some cases, a much more logical and even
It's
more
it's more efficient.
and more organic in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of build your crowd. As long as you build your crowd in a similar niche, and
It's still
they
authentic.
start to have a relationship with you, you can probably flop at least 30% of that crowd into a grassroots
Yeah.
crowd, and
Which
then be able to roll through with them.
And thinking about it, that is pretty much exactly what Jonah did, I think. Like, I haven't looked into a lot of his stuff yet. But yeah, he got big on TikTok and Instagram for doing stuff that he wanted to do, photography, like TikToks about hunting, the whole lifestyle that's out here that we're all grew up with and know. And then he was like, oh man, I love making music. I can make music about this lifestyle too. And he already had the presence. So that all kind of just clicked for him. Hopefully it keeps clicking for him.
Yeah. No, that was kind of the exact same thing. You brought up videography for a little bit. We used to have a business together.
We did.
Called,
Let's roll into that.
Take Initiative Studios.
It still exists, right? You still have that LLC?
It's presenting this podcast.
All right, cool.
Did you see the album cover?
We have an album cover?
Well,
You got
there
an
is
album
for
cover?
like the Spotify. You got to throw up a picture on Spotify.
It's just a picture of you.
Yeah, and then on the top of it says Take Initiative Studios presents.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's just a video of you giggling with your AirPods in. That's all I ever saw.
Yeah.
You should work on that.
Well, that's right. You got to put something out there that makes it look like you're enjoying it.
It's
like
true.
a lot of people were like, Drew's just so happy to see the light back in your eyes.
Really?
That was one of the very real comments. Yeah.
That's a hard comment to hear because it means at some point you lost the light in your eyes and no one was willing to tell you.
Yeah.
No one was going to be willing to step out and be like, hey, man.
There's a couple backhanded compliments for sure. Like one, I talked about it in another podcast. It was like, oh, you're so good at just talking. it's like.
I guess I'm kind of guilty of that too.
I guess.
That's how I reposted you on my Instagram.
Yeah.
It's like, somebody please listen to this guy so I don't have to anymore.
Yeah.
Kind of mean. My
Yeah.
bad.
No, that's not good. We're mean to each other. I take joy in it just because I'm a nuts fan. I'm just having I'm having a stroke now.
For this part of the podcast, you're going to want to actually play it in reverse.
I'm so much of an attention.
Hop beep.
Yeah. Hop beep. Slow beep.
It's a lot of cream. Cream
I'm okay with it. I mean, I'm okay with the backhanded compliments. And I know that they're all met with good intentions. It's like good
They
people
are.
that are like
And at the end of the day,
hitting me up.
fan engagement is fan engagement, baby.
Dude,
you post a mean
that's-
comment, doesn't matter. You're still boosting the statistics.
Well, side note, we call it, I mean, it's like shit posting. I'll have to bleep that out. But
You're gonna
earlier
go
this
back.
summer
I
when
remember I said a shitter. I dropped one of those words earlier. You're gonna want to find.
I left this for you, a little dookie on the floor.
Hope your room
I'm not going to
doesn't
tell you
find
which
it
room.
first.
You and I also have to remember to like when we laugh way over
To get
there.
back.
Because
I gotta hear. I'll just throw those in the corner. You can pick them up later.
just popping them off. We're bouncing off the charts because both of us have a ridiculously booming laugh. But, anyways, so yeah. Actually, change the angle of that camera really quick,
Where do
just
you
a
wanna
little
be?
bit.
This is
This
the
way.
most jarring thing ever to it. Oh, you want to be more
Right there.
2/3
right there.
right of the frame.
Right there. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Only because that camera is in the frame there.
Oh.
For like that 20
Fix it.
minutes, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it mattered, but probably not. As long as my.
Oh, has it been 25 minutes?
Is it still focused?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is gonna be like a 2-hour-long podcast because I've got so much more I want to talk about.
Oh yeah, we got a lot.
This is going.
We'll just run a Christmas special for 2-3 hours, and if people want to listen to it,
go on a long road. Treat yourself. Go on a long road trip somewhere you've always wanted to check out, and put us on.
wait, with somebody you've always wanted to check out.
No, go. I don't know what I said. Go on a long road trip somewhere, something you've always wanted to check out
Somewhere.
and throw this on. That's the only time I listen to podcasts, honestly, these days. Unless I'm like cooking in the kitchen or I'm driving. So it makes me, I get that much more excited for road trips now because I'm like, oh, I got 4 hours to myself in a car and I can just put on a podcast.
Yeah, if it's somebody that you've been having a good time with, they're like, the people that do know us, I think I mean, not to toot our own horns, but when we get together, we're a lot of fun.
We're
So.
the center of attention, baby. We run the room.
Oh my God.
Big dog.
This is what Liv told us
Not to do? Well, she's not on this podcast. I love you, Liv.
She still hasn't come on yet. I don't know if she just
ever
doesn't
will.
believe. She doesn't want to be
I
exposed.
think she just doesn't want to be part of it. She's like, this is ridiculous.
Oh man. But yeah, I wanted to.
Talk
Well,
about the
on
video
that
company?
note, I was gonna bring up though when we were talking about fan engagement. Just a side note,
Okay, make it quick.
I
We
can't-
gotta circle back.
right to TIS. But I did want to. That's literally how we got a lot of business this last summer for the real estate company. Was we would just put out ridiculous posts
Oh yeah,
on Billings
I remember
Marketplace.
because you and I were talking about this all the time.
Yeah,
It's like,
and we would get death threats. It was insane.
You were telling me some guy was like threatening Zach. He's like, yeah, show up and let's square up, or I've got a gun in my, or whatever.
No,
This
there was a guy that
nuts.
told us, he said if he found us on his street, he would figure out how to lock our doors and burn us alive inside our cars.
Yeah.
Then,
but I remember it started because Zach had a man bun.
Yeah, that was one of them. I mean, there's so many.
Which is
there's
a
another
previous
kid,
man bun user.
Yeah.
Square up.
Yeah.
Let's go.
There's another guy though too that was like, it was a comment about a house that like had house for selling up by the rims, and the guy just kept bringing up like, yeah, well, that's not a good investment. Rock's just gonna roll right through it or whatever. And like, hey, we always play it off with just laugh, we just another joke. We just play it off with jokes because people are just so brutal on any kind of Facebook marketplace or online marketplace where you can put comments.
Same quote I said this morning from Mike Tyson. People just got too comfortable on the internet being able to say whatever they want and not get.
This guy just went full on Nazi. Like, it was insane.
Yeah.
The stuff that he was saying.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're just part of the bourgeoisie. Like, he tried to go to this like place in the 1700s of classism, and it was like, what? And then I don't even know. It was, and then he was just wild. But anyways, I digress.
I mean, how much time does that guy have in his day?
A lot. I feel for his mental health, man. I mean, that's probably in a pretty rough place.
How did you get so much time in your day? Let me know. I'm trying to add a couple more hours in.
Hey, you in a...
What's your financial... Are you stable?
You in a system right now? Yeah. Anyways, I probably shouldn't say that. I probably got a stalker now. He's going to list this whole thing, and now he's going to...
That's fine.
He's going to come and get us.
When your court case gets big enough, fan engagement.
All right, moving on.
TIS.
Yeah, Take Initiative Studios. We had a little company together. Well, I've been like in my 5th podcast, which you haven't heard yet, but I've been trying to start businesses all my life, and this was one of them. And this is one of the many times we restarted Take Initiative over and over again.
This is the third time for you?
That was the 3rd or 4th time for me.
The first time I ever had anything to do with
Yeah, I had Teen Initiative, switched it over to Take Initiative.
Too many eggnogs.
And then Take Initiative was that original app idea, and then for the helping kids find work, and then well, Teen Initiative was the original. Then I turned into Take Initiative to find a better.
Teen Initiative was trying to find
kids work.
Like, young adults.
Different ways. Young adults.
We don't work with kids.
Young adults. Help them find an alternative path than
college, right? That was the whole idea.
Really? Yeah. Fast track it.
I mean, it was because it was right. Well, it was a perfect time too, because it was right when college was starting to fall off as a popular option.
Yeah.
Which has been kind of wishy-washy. I've seen it go back and forth in public opinion the last couple of years. But that was like, trade school still works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trade school, but then also just getting on the job training. But anyways, we went through that. Then it became a web development company. Then it became then we tried to do that app one more time in between, just for a brief stint.
Right.
And then it became a
tax shelter.
Literally, I used Take Initiative for a couple different small businesses in between. Washed airplanes.
Right. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, washed airplanes.
We used to do that. Did you use it for hay hauling?
A couple different things. I bought and sold some hay and just kind of dabbled in some of that. And then
you were a hay broker for a smidge there.
Yeah, and later on, more so after I got the trucks, and then I just had the Gerber trucking company, which is just a sole proprietorship, which is the one company I probably should have had an LLC set up for, but I didn't. And then
in which I never drove for.
I have to cut that out. And then then we created Take Initiative Studios.
Yeah.
And
that was like a year-long ride?
Yeah, year and a half.
It wasn't a bad one.
No, we
did some stuff.
We got some stuff figured out. First thing we bought was a drone. I bought that with my hay hauling money.
DJI Mavic Pro Platinum.
DJI Mavic Pro Platinum, yeah.
Yeah.
Not S. You're confusing that with the Ronin.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
But we had a DJI Mavic Pro Platinum. And we started using that, and then we realized we definitely needed a camera. Because I was really wanting to put together some kind of content for my real estate company.
Right.
Or not real estate company, but my real estate business. I wanted to...
Well, just for yourself, because when you first started, you did what? You did the 2-week crash course in Missoula for real estate. You did your real estate classes up in Missoula.
No, I did them all here in Billings.
I thought you had to go...
I had to go up to Missoula, Great Falls for all of my...
tests?
No, there's continuing education that I would do every year, and that was for GRI, Graduated Realtor Institute.
Oh, okay. So I got those confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you did your realty crash course, and then you got...
I got
hooked up with Berkshire.
Yep, I worked at Berkshire. Yep.
And
then after that, after being at Berkshire for probably a year or 2 years.
it had to be 2, because you did it for a while before you even thought about doing video stuff with
Yep,
it.
2 years, and then I thought, there's not a lot of people doing video in this town. And I thought one thing would be really nice is drone video to show ranches and stuff.
Yeah.
So I bought a drone, and I was still hauling hay in that time and driving truck and all of that. I really started thinking about when we were combining, because I thought about how cool it would have been to have an bird's eye view of us cutting fields and stuff and using that for marketing.
I'm sure you talked all about that in your last one too.
No, I didn't. I really brushed over a lot to even at an hour and 20 minutes. There was a lot I had to leave out.
There's a lot that we've done that you have to...
Yeah.
Just people have to find out, tune in next week. Stuff.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so we started taking initiative studios. I came to you. You were interested in doing some editing.
I liked video work. I thought
We
making
both
videos
did
was
video
fun.
work. Yeah, we did. We liked it in high school.
I did. Yeah, I don't know if you took film class in high school.
I didn't take film, but we did
the history
make
films.
videos for history.
And
yeah.
I took film class as a junior, so I took it a year before I was supposed to, because I was just so interested in it, and I loved it. I had so much fun.
Yeah.
Shout out Shane Fairbanks.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic teacher with a passion for everything he does.
Yep.
I had so much fun making films in high school that I would like. It was it was probably the one thing I tried the hardest at that time in my life, where I was like, I was willing to put in work, planning, extra hours. Oh, that sounds nice. I was willing to go the extra mile for that stuff. Like I remember pulling, like I'd stay up until like 4 a.m. We'd shoot the video, like the final scene I needed for the movie in high school, like the night before it was due, and then I would stay up until 4 a.m. editing it, sleep for an hour.
Yeah, we
wake
both
up.
procrastinated so bad.
Yeah,
Even
that
on
was
stuff
definitely
we
part of it.
liked, which is so sad.
100%.
So
But I would
sad.
like wake up, go to bed at 4, wake up at 5, make sure the final export worked, watch it finish, put it on flash drive, and then like run to school. And like, this is it. This is the best thing you've ever seen. And it was. But I love that stuff. So that's how you talked me into it, because you're like, I know you like making videos. I've seen you work hard at it. Like,
Yeah.
Come make money doing it with me. And I was like, oh, this is way cooler. Because at that point, I had dropped out of college.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Had you already dropped out of college?
Yeah, because I dropped out of college in after the first semester.
Yeah.
Like the winter of 2017, I dropped out. After the first semester was over, I was like, this is not for me.
Wow. Yeah.
And I came home, and then I worked at...
That is wild that I'm 3 years ahead of you. So I was already driving truck and combining in 2017. Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, we both did combining all through high school.
Right. I know. Yeah, that's wild. But anyways, I just was thinking about timelines for both of us, how they lined up.
Yeah, because I dropped out. I came home. I think I was working at Ribbon Chop House as a busboy.
Yeah, you'd done that for a little bit.
I did that for like 3 to 5 months. Got burned.
Mm-hmm.
Walked away from it. Didn't know.
Got burned or got burned out?
Both.
Oh. Okay. We both worked at Ribbon Chop. I did forget that part.
Yeah.
I worked at Ribbon Chop for 6 months as a waiter.
Yep.
I completely forgot that part in between. Damn. Anyways, carry on.
I'm trying to remember how that all lined up, because I did that Alaska trip in there somewhere, but that wasn't... Once I came back from the Alaska trip, or were we making videos before I left for Alaska?
No, you came back and we made videos afterwards, because I have your clips in our promo video.
That's right.
So that's when we really started picking it up and going for it. And then you took the drone down to Moab at some point.
Yep.
And did that
That
too.
was in October of 2018, because we went to Red Bull Rampage, and you got married that summer.
Yeah.
You got married, yep, because, that all makes sense now,
Yeah.
the timeline, because I was coming over to you and Liv's apartment,
Yeah.
and that was our office.
Yeah.
It's the spare bedroom.
Yeah. And we were trying to get that figured out. What do you remember? I mean, we don't have to talk about it all night, but what do you remember most liking about that, and what do you remember the hardest things about that?
I think what I most liked was just the feeling of like the end product coming out just perfect.
Yeah.
Like sitting in the editing booth.
And this was all real estate videos that we were doing for other people.
Yeah. And like the couple other
we had
things a little outside that.
Yeah. But mostly real estate videos.
Yeah.
And real estate photos.
I remember we'd both be sitting in the office and I wouldn't even put the final export on it. I would just like I would render it, hit the play on it real quick and be like, wow, this is good. And like, it's just a boring real estate video. It's just showing a property. But like when you put that much work and effort into it and like you see all that.
The cuts are to the music.
The payoff
transitions.
is so big
Yeah.
in videography and in video editing. Because like there's so much work that goes into it. Like, what you'd put 120 hours worth of billable work plus more that isn't billable into a 2-minute video.
We would not put 120 hours.
Some with like travel time, showing up, filming.
About 4 hours, and then usually each video is going to take about 10 hours, 10 to 12 hours.
No.
Yep.
You think so?
Yeah,
I just remember having to spend like at least a week's worth of time editing some videos, if not more.
Yeah, and it's mostly because we had to sort footage, and
okay, so maybe I exaggerated.
We were learning, we were learning a lot, so
right.
we didn't have 120 billable hours.
Okay, but yeah, so 120 was way over the top exaggeration. I just threw a number out there.
Yeah,
my mistake. But
the
you know what I mean.
We had was definitely the
Special K
one, but yeah.
Thanks for correcting me because that was way over the top. But yeah, just after putting in all the work, like knowing how much effort you put into that, and then when it comes out and you're like, dude, this is the real deal. Like we did it, and it made you feel like you weren't. Your imposter syndrome left for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
When you fired up that video.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, we got it going on. This is it.
Yeah.
You know, when you played the final video and when you showed it to someone and they were like, yeah, that's it. That was probably my favorite part for sure. And then just like in between, like the smaller hits was just like right when you hit the stop record button on a shot and you know it's money. It's like when I would get excited most of the drone flying or like a decent part of it. And so for me, it was always like when I would get the drone on a perfect sweep and that everything lined up. And then as soon as I pulled the drone off and hit the stop record button, I would just look up and be like, that was it. Got it right there. Go home. Don't need anything else.
Yeah.
Those were like the big moments in between. I was like, yeah, I miss it. It was a really good creative outlet, but it did also cause some burnout for me in that department.
Yeah, it wasn't as creative for me. I mean, it was a little bit, but it's pretty. It's in videography.
And I had a younger, fresher mind, so I was. Yeah. It was more at the time for me. It was more like wow on every corner, because I hadn't seen as much of everything else out there.
Yeah.
So it was definitely bigger for me, I think, than for you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
which I'm really glad that it was. I'm glad about that.
And then after a year of that, then the burnout set in, and I was like, dude, I'm just killing myself making house videos. I was like, who the hell wants to watch another property video? I was like, I want to do some action stuff. Like, let's go film some cool stuff. Yeah. Let's storyboard a project, or let's, like I loved making the highlight reels. Mm-hmm. Like those were the most fun. Because it was just like, here's all the cool things we got to do this year, and we filmed it, and it looks cool, and it's not just some dude's 500-acre ranch in Red Lodge.
Yeah, yeah.
So the highlight reels were always the most fun for me, where I was the most interested and invested. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, dude, clips together. Like, I got this clip from April. I remember this shot, and I got to go back and find it because it's going to go perfect right here. Yep. That was when everything clicked for me. Yeah. Everything lined up. I was like, I can use this here from this here, and I was like entering the flow state, making a highlight reel video. Yeah. It was like I knew everything where it needed to go perfectly, and I knew the perfect clip for everyone.
Yeah, and I think that is something that you have to do, especially for people that are working in that industry or videography. You are going to find most of your work is pretty corporate, pretty boring.
It's a harsh reality.
It's going to be built out for the most part you're going to be marketing something that you really don't have a whole lot of interest in.
You're not going to give a crap about it.
But I mean, some people might. But but I mean, like they'll like
majority of people are going to get
people that are
stuck.
building it. Yeah. So but at the same time, you won't have a highlight reel at the end of the year if you don't go out and do those things.
Yeah.
You've got to do it over and over again until you're fast enough and you're okay with doing it over and over again until you're fast enough and know enough that you can crank those things out.
Right.
So that you can become more efficient, because that's most likely going to be your bread and butter until you figure out your style and you figure out where your audience is going to come from.
You have to burn it into you first.
And you're not going to really find your style even in that, because you're still going to be building it to your clients liking it in some regards. However,
which is really hard. I found that to be a really big problem for me. Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah. But yeah, however, it gives you the skills in doing that and getting paid to do it. You are allowed to practice your skills to eventually get to the point where you can build the things you want to build.
Right.
That was all I was going to go with that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the bad thing about it. It's no different than working out. You got to go in and work out every day. It's not going to be the most passionate, fulfilling thing. However, a year and a half down the line, you're going to look back and have a highlight reel of workouts and knowing what those things were that were going to build your body. And then at the end of that year, you look at your body and you go, wow, this is a great body, and I wouldn't have this body if I didn't have all of the crappy days at the gym.
I never thought about it that way.
So it's a very similar thing. It's just muscles that you have to work on and go through. And, I assume, and I am already expecting that in the podcast. And I'm expecting that. I mean, that is exactly what happened to me this year in real estate as well.
Yeah.
Is there's a lot of deals that were a lot of work, way more work than they needed to be. And it seemed like a burnout. However, I can look back and look at some highlights. So, anyways.
I would agree. I think a lot of people give up too early because they think they think they're experiencing creative burnout, but really they're just experiencing boredom through practice and repetition. Mm-hmm. Which is a difficult thing. Like, where do you draw the line of like, is this creative burnout, or am I just like, am I just running out of energy to keep getting better? Because sometimes you're gonna have to push through the crap that you hate, which I think I gave up on video editing too early. Mm-hmm. It wasn't really creative burnout. I was just like, oh, I'm bored. This sucks. Like, I'm tired of making house videos. Mm-hmm. When if I would have kept going, by now, I could have been doing big projects that I wanted to if we had kept pushing, so to speak. And that's something that I experienced like super early was, I think a lot of people don't know this about video editing, unless you're like, if you've ever seen it been done before, but it is a large part artistic expression. Mm-hmm. Even in videos that you're doing to meet your client's needs, it's just as much like you're trying to, if you care about your work, or if you're trying to make a project good, you're still using your brain just as much to be like, man, how can I spin this a little better? How can I add a little extra flavor here that I know the client's gonna? I mean, yeah, you have to produce what the client wants at the end. Yeah, but you're still looking for like nooks and crannies where you can be like, this is something I would do, and like it's just as much artistic expression. And so it does get tiring because sometimes you'll get pushed back on those things where you're like,
you'll get pushback on it.
Yeah, you'll get pushback on like where you try to express yourself, and then you get pushback on where you try to express yourself. That hurts. You got to learn how to cope with that, because you're gonna be like, oh, I know this shot looks really good this way, and this is how I want to do it, and it looks fantastic. But guess what? You're not paying yourself at that point. Yeah. Someone else is paying you, and if they're gonna come in there and be like, I don't like it. It doesn't meet doesn't meet my expectations. I think it's too phony. I think it's too fake, or I don't like it at all. And you're gonna have to swallow your pride and be like, I spent, an hour on that cool little transition. Mm-hmm. Throw it out the window. Mm-hmm. Sucks to suck. You don't pay yourself.
Yeah, if that was, and
use it to drive yourself. Be like, okay, I'm gonna kill this exactly how they want it. So 6 months from now, no one's gonna tell me how to make my videos.
Yeah. Yeah, in a way, that's the way to go. And if I had been a better boss in that, and I hate the word boss, if I had been a better team leader in that, and I did want to run a studio precisely for that. What we could have done and what you would naturally do and what would typically happen is you would build out a client base to the point where you could pick and choose your work.
Right, which everyone's dream, right? That's
right.
What do you call us? Freelance.
Yeah. Yeah, you just get so good that your price can go up and up and up.
And you can just pick your clients.
And pick your clients.
Every independent contractor's
exactly.
dream.
But that only works if that is your passion, so much so, and that is so much your end goal, that you are willing to put the money into the marketing to be able to get a wider swath of clientele, put your money into the depth of your clientele as well, because you need to have a vertical and a horizontal, and you need to be able to project your goals and your timelines into building that company out. So if we were truly about building out that production company and just making videos for other people, we would have had a better, if I was leading the team right, we would have had a better mission to every 2 hours that we do for a client, we spend another hour in our free time, or I would have spent another hour in my free time figuring out how to market my company better so that I could reach a different client.
Okay.
Or that I could start to develop my own style that other people would then recognize me for, and they would want that style enough that they would pay the price.
Right.
We didn't do that. We built out our own style. We did what we thought was the right for the client in order to make enough money so that we could then decide how to market. We were trying, or what my intention was to make enough money to eventually market my real estate.
Right.
I didn't have any real estate. I wasn't going for specific real estate clients.
Yeah.
I thought I could get real estate clients by showing how well I marketed other people's properties. Instead, it came out, I'm good at marketing other people's properties.
So that's
real estate agents call me to do that.
Right.
Instead of the client calling me to market their property.
Right.
So I didn't go direct to the client, and I only worked on a product indirectly for real estate agents.
We did whether we meant to or not, we were advertising more to other real estate agents.
Yeah.
And like agencies and brokerages than we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, because our content wasn't hitting home sellers at all.
Well, it was. However, most people already had their agent, and they weren't gonna call the production company.
They were just gonna call their agent and say, "Hey, get this production company,"
or the agent that hired us.
Yeah.
So that's how we were doing it, and I didn't have the foresight
to push back on.
But the foresight to realize that first and foremost, I didn't know how to market myself.
Right, because I remember there was we did one video for a client where I think it really set the mentality for us, because we had, just the way I remember it was, we had our logo in the bottom right-hand corner. We had our watermark in the bottom right-hand corner of the video for the whole video. Mm-hmm. So you knew it was us. Whether it was tacky or whatever, we were marketing. Yeah. We needed people to know that Take Initiative Studios made this video. And then the client sent us an email and said, "It's my video that I'm paying for. Mm-hmm. I don't want your watermark on it." Mm-hmm. And right there, I think that set the tone. Mm-hmm. We should have been like, "Too bad. You want it or not." Or maybe not been so hard with it, but found a way, which I guess we kind of compromised because we put our logo at the end, so you still saw it. But once the credits roll, who cares?
Yeah, you know? I see it differently.
Do you?
Yeah, I think absolutely. That was.
I guess, and that's not like a good overall reaching thing, but it's just in my mind, it's something that sticks out.
Yeah, I remember when that happened, and I remember the thoughts that we were having at that time. But I think ultimately, because she's still a good friend of mine, I still do business with her, but that is her video. And any other videography business would, unless it was a watermark that they were sharing, like say if it was a wedding photographer.
Right, they're not going to leave there.
You have watermarked photos, and then you have,
clean photos for an end product.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, because of what she was paying and everything, I totally understand that needed to be like that. And I think personally, if I wanted to market myself or market my company or build a media company.
And you were hiring someone else out, you wouldn't.
Well, no, I'm saying that if I actually wanted to run a production company, I would have found a better way to market myself than a watermark in the bottom corner.
That's also a good point.
That's like
That's the main takeaway.
That's the main takeaway. Is I didn't have the passion to run a full-blown production company.
Right. Oh, okay.
And if I did, then I would have that wouldn't have even been an issue for us.
Oh, okay.
I think originally I was trying to find real estate clients. And I was not trying to, so it's like that would have been something where we would have just pushed through and would have made better marketing anyways if I was actually passionate about it. Mm-hmm. It was totally my fault for not finding better ways to market us. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, a watermark.
Whatever.
Yeah. It didn't, it at the time, because I was figuring things out and learning things, I think it might have bothered me or something, but I now know that I didn't want to pursue that anyways. And if something like that was going to bother me, I clearly didn't have the passion for it.
Right.
That's my point.
Well, I don't even say passion, just understanding. I guess.
Yeah, not even understanding though. I really didn't have. Yeah, passion's a terrible word. But when I want to do something and I like doing it and it brings me joy, I'm not going to let something like that bother me. Right. I'm going to build a product.
You feel like final work around it.
That's so good that'll blow that away.
Yeah.
That's just not an issue.
I hate to do this.
Yeah.
Water.
Sure.
Okay.
So another brief intermission, everybody. Had to go to bed. I mean, we got up for a water break and we were exhausted. I was exhausted.
I was exhausted. Tired. I was too many rum and orange juices deep.
Just started complaining.
Droning
on.
It got a little babblish.
We
keep falling off the points, which I think is okay.
Yeah.
When it's interesting conversation. Mm-hmm. But we just listen back. We do that every time we take an intermission. We go back to and listen to what we said previously.
Yeah, about 4 or 5 minutes before. And you have anything you want to say, Quinn?
No, I stand by my statement. I stand by my original feelings.
Oh, okay. Did you?
I was concerned because I'm new to this that I couldn't remember what I had said.
Yeah.
And I was like, did I maybe flame someone in the chat, so to speak, a little too hard? No, I didn't, because that was honestly how I felt at the time. Those were my honest feelings.
We had a great conversation about that. So you
were talking about transparency, and that's me being transparent. At the time, I was like, don't tell me how to do my work. When obviously someone needed to be telling me how to do my work because I was a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, that, and it's just also just two different viewpoints there too that we were having a discussion last where we left off was you were technically, I hate saying this, but you were working on the back end. I was dealing with the front end.
Yeah.
Instead of the employee-employer thing.
Client relations.
And when you're dealing with clients and you've been a client yourself, you'll have a little bit different perspective of what the finished product should be as opposed to who's on the back end working on that product. And so we had that conversation last night about it because without relaying too many details, that was like a touchy time because Quinn and I were trying to figure out how to run a business on our own together and in that situation. And I was learning how to be a better leader. And I think at that time I had you didn't learn to be that negative about it. You got it from somebody. So I feel like at that time I was probably negative about it and like, oh, I can't market my company by having a watermark. But now looking later on in life, I'm going, yeah, that was ridiculous. And that was the point I made last night was if I actually had passion, I would have changed it up.
Yeah.
But you helped me think about a negative thought pattern after we had a big long discussion last night about this.
We did. We had a lot. Here's the deal.
Afterwards.
This is already going to be a super long podcast. Not everything Drew and I talk about is going to be in the podcast. This is already going to be like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
But before we even started the first one, I was talking about how like research shows that humans are really good at pattern recognition. That's what makes us so squeaky chair. That's what makes us so human, I guess. Or like it's one of our big qualities is we're really, really good at pattern recognition. And then after we recorded the segment last night, and then we talked about it, you said you recognized a pattern. What was the pattern you recognized, Drew?
Pretty much whenever past Drew was working for somebody else, I talked about this, I think, in my second episode of the podcast. The worst kind of ball and chain is taking money for something that you maybe don't want to necessarily do, but you don't care enough about to change or to go do somewhere else in a different way, like start your own thing,
Right.
take responsibility for it. It's a negative pattern when you just complain about it, but stay right where you're at and don't do anything about it. Don't make anything better. Don't have a heartfelt discussion to see if anything can be resolved or move on. Or just, if you truly enjoy it, work through it, find a better way to do it, and find a different outlet for yourself if that outlet is. But what I found was, in working for a lot of other people, that I typically would go on the defensive immediately and say, well, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with this? What's wrong with what I'm working on? I clearly care. I clearly am trying to do the best.
Why isn't it the
best? Is it
Why
so
is it
begrudging, to let me have whatever I wanted at the time?
Right.
When I'm realizing now that I didn't have enough passion for the thing I was doing, and that is a perfectly fine word to use in that case. I was finding out that I didn't like to do it enough to have to deal with those kinds of situations. I didn't like doing it enough. And it's no fault of anybody that hired me. In fact, I am so grateful for a lot of the times I've been hired. But
Pretty crazy the gamble a lot of people took on us. With a lot of things we did.
Yeah. It's very crazy that happened. But then at the same time, thank you for the lessons that I learned, and then me being able to look back and make myself a better person, realizing, glad it didn't work out. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that I'm still not stuck, and not saying that I was in a stuck position, but I'm glad I'm not still in a position that makes me less happy than I am now. So that is what is so cool about this podcast is I am learning so much, having conversations with Quinn, with Jonah, my head, my thoughts, or my thoughts in my head, because this is forcing me to be a better person, and that's the transparency of this podcast, and that is the ultimate goal. Again, I will reiterate 1,000 times. I'm working through things. I'm putting things together so that other people can relate to them. Maybe they can pick something up from it, become better people themselves, because it's going to be very hard for you to find something that you want to do and how to monetize it if you don't like yourself, because it's a product of yourself. Mm-hmm. And if you don't like yourself, you're never going to like the product it makes. So that was a long way around, watermark in the corner, but God bless.
Sometimes it takes those little things to
it does.
And then you're like, why does that bother me so much?
Yeah.
Like, why does this small thing bother me so much? And it's going to like flip it over.
Yeah.
It's like, why does this rock look shiny and cool? And you flip it over, and then on the bottom is what you needed to know.
Yeah. Yeah. You think you learned something from that? That help you at all?
Probably.
The whole point is also to help whoever's in the hot seat.
Yeah.
Try to work through some stuff too. So if I'm hopefully redeeming myself as a poor leader back then, now.
Well, I think
that's
if
the goal.
Taught me anything is sometimes I don't always form my own opinions on things, mm-hmm. and just look to whoever's leading in the room and be like, how do they feel about it? Whoever's in charge of the room, I'm like, what? Okay, I'll react that way. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, I share your outrage because I don't know how to feel about it. Mm-hmm. Or, yeah, I share your joy because I don't know if I should be joyful or not.
Yeah.
If anything. That was a quick thought I had while you were talking.
That's something that I've been guilty of too, and it's like, no, form your own opinions.
Yeah.
I have to take into account, okay, just because he's feeling that way, I don't need to feel that way. I do need to take accountability. I can't just say, yeah, so goes the rest of the world, so goes I.
Yeah.
I also have to. So it's just a lot of self-accountability. You constantly have to take.
You have to self-analyze continually without being negative.
Yeah, it's really hard to do, to assume that you're wrong or assume that that you could have done something better without getting all woe is me.
Yes.
That's a hard thing
Yes.
to balance. You still have to have enough confidence to go out and try it again.
You just gotta go,
and you're going to make mistakes. But
redo it.
dude, that's probably the best lesson. That honestly, I had to come out. I gave you a hug.
Yeah.
After
last night.
all
I was
of
trying
that
to go to
last
bed.
night as we were working through this. And I was like, man, I'm so glad that Quinn is able to come on the podcast. Well, he is a poor and nobody knows him.
It's better that way.
There is something you're known for. You want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah. We can talk about maybe why I left town. How do you want to start?
Well, what happened? I mean, Jonah, that's how Jonah got to know you in podcast 5.
Yeah.
So,
Was that fine? Yeah.
or 4.
4.
Podcast 4.
Yeah. Jonah pulled up to the scene of an accident, the scene of a crime, after the crime had been committed.
A crime you committed on yourself.
Yes. Yeah, it was self-inflicted. All right, let's I was a junior in high school. This was 2017.
You graduated in
And
2017.
This is 2016.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 2016, and it was so we're in Montana. So kids would do, at least the friend group I was in, we would do swing dances in kids' shops, pretty much, or like we'd hang out and kids would dance. I don't know, it was something to do, where like parents were okay with you using their space because it wasn't quite a small group Christian meeting, but it wasn't kids throwing a kegger. So that middle ground we could operate within. So they would loan us their shops and spaces for kids, get a bunch of kids together, just have a party pretty much. So yeah, some sort of swing dance thing party, and I was gonna do my promposal for the girl I was gonna ask to prom, and I don't know if it was an ego complex or I just needed to be flashy because that was how I got
ego
attention.
complex.
Yeah.
Sound like eagle complex for a second there.
There's a complex full of eagles. They were everywhere. Predators. No, so yeah, I think back then that was the way I was able to make friends and blend in, was be flashy. Anyways, not going to dig into that right now. So my promposal idea was, what are you digging for back there?
Sorry, I was just trying to put something out of the way. I saw it in my frame and it was freaking me out. Go ahead. I'm so sorry. Continue.
I just wanted to know what's going on. I was doing a promposal, which is where you ask someone to prom. And my idea was typical me fashion. I'd had an idea for the past 3 months. And then when it came around, I was like, I got to put this together quick. So it was like right before it happened, go to Walmart, buy some white gas, just kerosene oil, kerosene fuel, kerosene lantern fuel. And that was it. And then I went to the dance. And my idea was, I made a sign that said I would rather not take you to prom. And then I was going to light my pants on fire. So the theme was liar, liar, pants on fire. So I wanted to take the girl to prom. And when I got there, I was thinking quick. And I had some person fill a bucket of water. And I was like, hey, let me crack the joke and then put me out. Like, this is going to be fast, 5 seconds. And I was getting ready, and I like kind of wiped the stuff on my pants. And I hate telling this story. I was like, well, I don't want to burn my boots because they're nice boots. I just got them. So I took my boots off. And I was like, well, cotton socks are pretty damn flammable, so I better get those off too. Rip them off, which I don't know if the long run, if that helped or not. And then I flame on, you know? And I have him bring the girl to the garage door of the shop. And I'm like, all right, light myself. And I go, hit the door. And they hit the door, and I'm holding the sign. And I go, I'd rather not take you to prom. And I go, shit, put me out. And the person that's supposed to put me out has, obviously the brain was understandably not prepared to see a 16-year-old kid engulfed in flames in front of them. And the flame is traveling quickly. And so the person who's supposed to put me out has a panic attack at the sight of another human being engulfed in flames saying, put me out, put me out, put me out. And so they just don't. They just freeze up. They like lock up. And then another kid who was standing there is like, oh, runs, grabs the bucket, runs over and throws the water at me, but he hits me in the chest, not the not the part that was on fire, which maybe was like, maybe that saved the rest of me. I don't know. And so I'm still cooking. And it's been a good like 30 to 45 seconds at least, and I'm like still cooking, and now everyone's freaking out. Everyone's like, oh, this is bad. Throw my thing. I'm kind of like freaking out, running around, and finally someone's like, go for the water tank, and I didn't even bother. I just hit the ground, stopped, dropped, and rolled. I don't remember if someone pushed me over, if I did it myself or what. I stop, drop, and roll. Get up, everyone's like freaked out, like, oh, this what? Everyone's standing around confused, like, what did I just witness? Why was this kid on fire in the driveway? Who invited the Human Torch to the party? And so I remember I got up, I'm walking around, I could tell that my feet were burned, obviously, and I'm like, okay, so I go and stand, I literally just jump in a horse trough, just to like cool down, put water on a burn immediately. And I'm like standing there, and I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. I get out of the tank. I'm still like, the adrenaline is so heavy. I'm walking around for like 15 minutes on just a raw gravel driveway in my bare feet.
Holy shit.
I go, it's fine.
That's a beep.
It's good. I was like, we'll just put some bandages on it. I'm just going to go home. This will be fine. And I'm sitting on the tailgate, and I'm like, okay, who's got ibuprofen? Because it started to hurt. And so I go and I eat like 4 ibuprofen. So I'm like, and it's starting to set in. All right, this is going to get pretty bad. Well, my phone had died because it was in my pocket, and flames and water on an electronic device, so it wasn't working. I couldn't call like mom or anything. And and so I'm standing there, I'm like, and I have been before that. I have been in like situations where you go into shock before, like from bodily harm. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, you get like that first like twinge when it's gonna hit, and I look at my buddy and I go, okay, and they're all kind of, I've got them all calmed down because I'm good at BSing them, and I'm like, no, it's fine, and they're kind of like, okay, you're gonna be okay, you just gotta chill for a minute, and then I look at them out of nowhere and I go, no, I need to go to the ER right now, and they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I'm about to go into shock, we gotta go like now. And so we're like 20 minutes from the ER because we're out like past 56th. And so they throw me in the back of this kid's Ford Explorer, and I like borrow someone's phone, and I call mom, and I go, hey, remember that dumb prom idea I told you about a couple weeks ago? And she's like, yeah. I go, well, I did it. And she's like, oh God. And I go, well, it didn't go very well, and I'm headed to the ER right now. And so now mom is like, son of a...
She didn't believe you, though.
She didn't.
Somebody didn't believe you.
At first, she did not believe me. She's like, this is a prank. She thought it was a prank. And I kept talking on the phone. I was like, nope. I'm going to the ER right now. My buddy's driving me. Like, the car's full. So, and then she's like, fine, I'll meet you there. Let's see how bad it is. I'll meet you at the ER.
Yeah.
And we pull up to the ER, and I remember, like, this is all a blur. So, like, this is probably, whoever's listening to this, if they were there, if they were one of the people in the car, they might say something happened differently. It was all pretty flashy for me. And we pull up to the ER. Someone runs in and is like, my friend's been burned. We don't think he can walk in. Like, the burn is so bad. And I remember the security guard that was working that night. This guy's probably like 5'4", and he walks out and he looks at me. And at the time, I'm probably 230 pounds and like 6 feet tall. Like, I'm not a small guy. And he's like, can I give you a hand? I go, that'd be really great. And he brings out a wheelchair, and he just reaches into the car and just scoops me up like a baby.
Really?
Yeah, like no problem. He just scoops me out of the car. This guy must have been like, he was sarmed up. This guy was cranking anabolics in the janitor's closet or something. I don't know. But he just grabs me out of the car, sets me in the wheelchair, and I definitely couldn't walk. I'm like it's starting to shock pretty hard. And so they roll me in through the front desk of the ER. And out of all the places you think would be handicap accessible, they asked me to fill out some paperwork at the front desk of the ER. Well, I have like burns up and down my legs, and I can't reach the counter because I'm in a wheelchair that's above eye level. So I can't fill out some paperwork. She goes, can you stand up and fill out this paperwork? I'm like, I look at the lady, no. There's absolutely no way. And she's like, well, I can't admit you without filling out these forms. And I was like, get it from my friends. Like, I can't do this. And so then she's like, okay, I guess. And so they roll me back to a bed, and they're like, can you stand up and, like, walk into the bed? And once again, I'm like, no. Like, they just didn't care. They're like, come on, why are you being such a baby about it? I remember they did make me stand up to get my weight on the scale.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm trying to, like, laugh and, like, like, on the inside, I'm dying, going into shock. Like, I'm starting to convulse uncontrollably.
Yeah.
And they get me in the bed. My mom comes in the ER. Lost a pair of underwear that night because they cut them off me. I was like, no, just take them off.
They make you stand up on the weight, but then
They make me stand up to get my scale, and they want me to stand up to do my paperwork. But once they get me in the bed, they just cut my jeans and my underwear off me. And I'm like, well, I would have risked it for those. Like, I liked those jeans. And I remember Mom came in, and she sees me in the hospital bed, shocked out, like convulsing. And she just looks at me and sighs and goes, you dumb ass. You have to bleep that one too. I'm like, wow, thanks for the support. But yeah, so then I'm in the hospital. You know, everybody's freaking out. I'm freaking out. I'm trying not to freak out. I remember I was like cracking jokes. I think I was like hitting on the nurses so I didn't have to think about how much pain I was in.
Did they get you on a morphine drip right away? Or?
Pretty fast. Yeah. They put me on max dosage of morphine as fast as they could. And then I can't remember the exact order of events, but like everyone starts showing up at the ER. Mom and Dad are there. They're talking about options. They're looking at the burns. I think they did the first round of debridement pretty fast. And debridement is where they have to clean all of the dead burnt skin off of you to see what works and what doesn't still. They literally have to like ask you, can you feel this? Can you feel this? Do you have feeling here? And that is pretty much, debridement is the most painful thing a human being can experience. Because imagine just, like when you pinch a nerve and or something, like you have an exposed nerve, a toothache, like you can really feel the nerve there. Just imagine a raw nerve from pretty much your knees down, and they just rubbing a wet washcloth on it. Just hard to get all that crap off. And you have to be awake to tell them, oh yeah, I can feel that. And so you're like, you know, they should have given me like the leather belt or a wooden dowel to bite on, because I'm like, yeah, I can feel it. There's still nerves there. And like, even after I'm on the max dosage of pain medication, it doesn't matter. I feel like, you know, a lot of people have been drunk and then something scares them and you feel like you sober up really quick. It doesn't matter how much pain medication they give you in the moment. When you're so shocked out, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you at all. You don't even notice it. And I remember the doc coming in the room and just going, yeah, so you have second and third degree burns on 17% of your body from like the knees down. And they said, I remember the worst part was he goes, we can't treat that here. This is at the Billings Hospital. This is at Billings Clinic. I was like, well, so what's up? What does that mean? And
St. Vincent.
Yeah, I was like, so I just go up the block and the Catholics will take care of this? They got some holy water that'll fix this better? And they're like, no, you have to go to a specialized burn ward. I think is what it was their burn ward is only rated to take care of up to...
1 second, we're just going to pause real quick. Good to go.
Okay.
So anyways.
So, yeah, I'm in the hospital. Doc comes in. He's like, we can't treat this here. The burn ward there is only like classed or leveled up. Their stats aren't high enough to treat third degree burns. They can only treat second degree burns, I think was kind of what was going on. And like, well, you either have to go to, it was Seattle, Salt Lake, or Denver that night to get treated. So that obviously means a life flight. But I think the problem was Seattle was in the middle of a blizzard. Salt Lake's burn ward was full. Actually, I think Seattle was both full burn ward and a blizzard at the SeaTac airport. Salt Lake was just straight up full, did not have room for me. And Denver had 2 extra beds, but they were also in a blizzard. And so they decided to send me to Denver. And Dad was there, and at the time, Dad was flying for the one company that had the private plane.
Yep.
And so they're like, well, we're going to have to life flight your kid. And of course, Dad is like, screw that. I remember Dad literally said, he's like, I will just go get the company plane. This is a $7 million aircraft.
More like 11 million.
$11 million aircraft. That he has no right to just fly whatever he wants. But Dad was like, oh, I'll just go get the plane. Mm-hmm. So Dad was going to go steal that plane to fly me to Denver. And he's like, no, there's like this, it's like a private, and he was trying to explain to the doctor. He was trying to talk the doctor into it. He was like he's like, no, it's nice. You guys can all sit in there. He's like, there's a mini bar.
He was really saying that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of imagining something, but Dad was fully ready to just go get that airplane.
Wow.
And fly it, like pilot it himself down there with me on it. He's like, I'll get him to Denver fast.
Yeah.
And he was totally ready to like go file a flight plan and get that thing out of there.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, no, there's absolutely no way we can discharge your son to you like that. And so they finally settled on life flighting me to Denver.
Oh my gosh.
And I think it was a similar, I mean, it was still a King Air 250 or something, but they have all the equipment in there and the trained personnel and whatever legal issues. Boring. So
still Dad flying.
Still Dad was like, I don't care. But
not really. That didn't actually happen.
No, it did not. But yes, they had to take me in an ambulance from the hospital to the airport, load me in the airplane, and I think, well, Mom, they said one person could go with me. So Mom was going to go with me. I don't remember. Someone ran home to our house, packed a 2-day bag for her, brought it back, and she was able to get on the plane with me on the way to Denver. And I remember this. They loaded you in the plane, and this is my number one complaint with life flight. Okay, when they put you in that plane, you and I have both flown a lot. We're comfortable flying. Doesn't bother us. Never get air sickness, really nothing, anything like that. When they put you in the life flight, they load you with your feet towards the back of the plane. Mm-hmm. So you are riding in the plane backwards, and you are also completely strapped to a gurney.
Yeah.
So you cannot sit up, and they have you at this awful half angle. They won't sit you up. They won't lay you all the way down. I don't know if that's so you don't puke on yourself and aspirate it and suffocate. Whatever. It was the worst flight of my life. Not even for the pain reasons. Just for this is so uncomfortable. You strapped in there. You can't move. I was still convulsing and shocked out in a crap ton of pain. And I remember the tech who was sitting next to me for the flight. I was like, hey man, whenever you want more morphine, dap me up. I got you. and I was refusing the morphine because it was making me feel nauseous and airsick. Yeah. I was like, I'll just hurt because I ain't going to throw up on the plane like a bitch. And so I remember landing in Denver and being really not having a good time because I was refusing the pain medication until we landed. But that whole flight was kind of in and out because, I mean, at that point, I'd calm down a little and the medication, you're all over the place. But I remember landing in Denver. It was another blizzard, and it was bad enough that they were running on emergency lights on the runway, I'm pretty sure, and the hospital was running on generators. Sorry. The hospital was running on the backup generators because they had lost power at the hospital, and there's crashes all over the interstates. So the ambulance had to weave through a bunch of wrecks to get me to the hospital. We get there. It literally looks like a post-apocalyptic movie where a bomb had just gone off in DC and all the lights are out. So they couldn't actually check me in to they couldn't check me into the hospital system because their computer systems were down. So they just rolled me in there. And then as soon as I get there, they got to go into their assessment at that hospital. So it's debridement round 2. Yeah. Same thing. And this one was worse because the ER in Billings is a lot more welcoming and friendly. Mm-hmm. The lights are warmer. The people are nicer. The debridement room at the Denver burn ward is a brown room with one door in and out. Oh my gosh. And a steel tub table in the middle of the floor.
What a nightmare.
So it's like every
torture chamber.
Yeah, torture chamber you've seen in a spy movie. Where they just roll you on and drop you on a cold steel table.
Stuff, dude, that makes me shiver.
Why do you think I won't go back to the hospital anymore? I'll add something in at the end. So debridement again there that night. Once I got there, they were able to start me on fentanyl which is the strongest painkiller they have. I remember they wanted to send me to the children's burn ward because I was 17.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they did my body mass, I was too big for the required pain medication the docs wanted to give me. Because I was like over the size, thank God, one of the docs was like, put him in the adult ward, because in the children's unit they have legal limits for how much medication they can prescribe, just so they don't risk like overdosing a child. Mm-hmm. And they're like, screw it, put him in the adult ward, because I was big enough that they wanted to be able to give me more medication because my burns were so bad. So yeah, I get to Denver, 2 weeks in the ICU, and that was hell, because it was debridement once, if not twice, every day.
Oh.
Wake up, start my pain medication, maybe get a meal, debridement. And then lay in bed for 8 hours, get to do my daily shower, which was miserable. I have to like bag my crap up. And then I remember before and this was all the 2 weeks before I even got the skin grafts. They had to see how I would heal naturally before they could decide how they wanted to treat the burns, like with skin grafts or whatever. And even before I had the skin grafts, I remember I had to do, and this lady was hard on me, but I really liked her attitude. They have a physical therapist that specializes in the burn ward for burn victims. Mm-hmm. And as soon as, like the day after I got there and they had started debridement and assessment, I had to start doing physical therapy. Mm-hmm. And so just raw 3rd-degree burns, I remember they gave me a walker to get to the PT room. Mm-hmm. And I got like 3 steps out of the door, and the physical therapist doctor walked up and was like, no, you're not using a walker. And she like literally grabbed it, threw it down the hallway, and gave me some crutches. I was like, you need to walk as properly as possible. Yeah. So I couldn't get a walker. I had to use crutches, because they want you to move and flex that skin, because as soon as you get injured, your body starts healing, right? And the biggest issue with burns is your body naturally, when it's a traumatized area that big, your body's just going to naturally switch over into scar tissue production, which is also another part of the debridement, is they're trying to also clear away that scar tissue that your body's trying to form, because that scar tissue it's nothing like your normal epidermis. Like, there's no layers, it has no flex, there's no sweat glands, no hair glands. It's not normally functioning skin. It's just scar tissue, that heals completely differently, is not as functional. So they don't want the scar tissue to come back, especially over 17% of your body. So they have me start walking, like you do there's the bars on each side, you have to walk down and walk back, and stuff like that. I had to do that every day after debridement. So yeah, that for 2 weeks. I remember one side story. There was one nurse that was new to the burn unit. She was filling in from a different floor, and this lady apparently was illiterate, because she did not read my chart and did not know my program. And I already knew my program at that point. 8 a.m. I'm like awake. I have to go do my daily shower. So she comes to the room, and I go, okay, so can we start doing my fentanyl doses now? Because I know, so that we have 15 minutes to kick in, so they'll walk to the shower, which is maybe 30 yards at max down a hallway. Mm-hmm. Still like the longest marathon of your life for me at the time.
And you're on fentanyl.
Morphine, I'm on morphine constantly, and I'm on a very small amount of fentanyl, and then they would up the fentanyl dosage if I had to go do an activity. If I had to go take a shower, if I had to go to debridement, if I had to go to my little physical therapy thing for like 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so I know, like, okay,
what about gabapentin? Were you on that too?
Yeah, I don't remember when they started that though. I'm probably pretty soon, but yeah, that as well. And so she comes to the room, and she's like, "Hey, we got to start your," or she's like, "It's time for your daily shower." And I go, "Cool. So can we start my fentanyl, like upping my fentanyl dosage, so and it's time to start that?" And she goes, "No, actually, we're prepping you for discharge, so we're gonna start weaning you off fentanyl." I'm still in a week and a half out from my skin grafts. So why would they be weaning me off of my painkillers and getting me ready for discharge? And I go, I don't think that's right. I think you need to read my chart. And if you tell that to a nurse, they're like, you don't know my job. You don't know what I do. This lady just got real hot and bothered about it. She's like, I know how to do my job, honey. I'm a nurse at the Denver hospital. Like, all of this. And so she did not start my pain medication. She gave me the walker to walk myself to the shower, and she would not help me walk. She's like, you have to do it yourself. You got to get ready for this. Like, she's like raising a attack dog. You got to figure it out yourself or something. I don't know. And let me tell you, if I could have moved half a mile faster, that bitch would have been in the bed right next to me. She was about half my size. And if I could have just got my hand a little farther on the walk, she wouldn't have needed a walker the rest of her life. And if by some chance she finds this podcast in 3 years, I'm still looking. And I'm coming. But luckily, Mom, God bless, was there. And so she helped me make it to the shower, and I like powered through it and got back. And we said something to my doctor, and I never saw that lady again. Thank God. Either she got transferred out, or maybe someone just shot her in the dumpster. I don't know. Oh my God. But I mean, the pain is it's so excruciating. It's literally like third-degree burns are some of the worst pain a human can experience. Yeah. And for her to just dismiss that, like, how is that a healthcare professional?
Yeah.
You know, how do you? And I was nice. I was never mean. I was never.
You don't think you're just addicted at that point?
Far from it. I was ready to get off that stuff because, like I said, it's just a mind wipe. It's a terrifying drug.
Fentanyl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that people will try it recreationally, never.
Yeah. It's
like, it's just you think tequila wipes your hard drive?
Yeah.
Try the most powerful opioid on planet Earth.
Yeah. There's a lot of people have lost their lives to that.
They have. But I remember being in the ward. I felt lucky when I was there because there was the guy next to me, in the room next to me, had 92 or 98% of his body was covered in burns.
Wow.
Because it was that National Guard helicopter pilot. This is the most tragic story ever. And this guy's incredible. And he did make full recovery, but he lived, which was a complete miracle. 92 to 98% of his body was covered in second and third degree burns because the National Guard was doing a helicopter demonstration for the Boy Scouts of America in Boulder. And right when they go for liftoff, I believe they had hydraulic failure on their tail rotor. Same thing that happened to someone else we know. And there was 3 or 4 guys in the National Guard guys in the helicopter, right in front of a full troop of Boy Scouts. Oh. Helicopter goes down, bursts into flames. Oh. This guy's a crew chief in the back. I think there was 4 guys total, and he jumps out. He goes back in and pulls out the co-pilot, throws him on the ground, extinguishes him while he's still on fire, and then he goes back and pulls out the other crew chief too, and pulls him out.
Wow.
And I don't know how many of those guys made it, but this whole time he was completely engulfed in flames while he's pulling these other guys out of the helicopter.
Wow.
And then he puts himself out, and they bring him to the hospital, and he lived.
Wow.
So I remember every day just thinking, I'm not that guy, so this is fine.
No.
I'll be okay. Because every day the nurse, he was just like quiet in there because the nurses were just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the next room over was some guy that blew up a meth lab, killed 3 people, and had like 70% burns. And like when the nurses walked by talking about him, they were like, yeah, here's his chart. Can go figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because that guy's, no one cared. But the guy next to me, I was like,
how did you hear their stories? Who told you their stories? The nurses did, or?
Well, every profession gossips.
Yeah.
You just kind of hear.
Yeah.
When you're in there for 2 weeks and you got no one to talk to, you listen.
Well, you weren't just there for 2 weeks. You were
there. I was in the burn ward ICU for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And then I was discharged, and then I just stayed Mom and I stayed in the hotel right across the street.
Oh.
And then I would just have to go back every day for my stuff.
Oh. So you were still going to the hospital every day?
Yeah. But
how long?
A month and a half.
So you were down there for that long? Because I didn't know if that was right.
I'm pretty sure it was a month and
a half.
I think it was something like that. It's like 2 weeks in the like high intensity ICU. And another thing I remember was when I got there, you know, every nurse is like, oh, you can squeeze my hand as hard as you want, like for debridement. Like, we know this hurts. You can squeeze as hard as you want. Mm-hmm. Well, then every 2 minutes they had to rotate it like a doc or a nurse in because I was like white knuckling.
Yeah.
And none of them were like, okay, someone's got to swap me out. Like, my hand is dying. And God bless her heart, the only person after that who could hold my hand all day, the whole time I was doing it, was Mom.
Yeah.
And she was like, it does not matter. You can squeeze as hard as you want. And she wasn't lying. And she would stand there the whole time and then let me hold her hand, like squeeze as hard as I could. No one else in that room could do it. But Mom was like, you're fine. Yeah. And she never was like, oh, it hurts. You got to lighten up. She just stood there.
Yeah.
And that's probably why it broke a couple years later.
Yeah. Poor Mom. Tough lady.
Yeah. And
Tough lady.
and I ended up getting, after 2 weeks, then I got the skin grafts. I got xenografts, because I had heard that sometimes the most painful part of burn treatment is not even where you're burned once they do the skin grafts, but it's where they took the skin from. Yeah. So there's two main types of skin grafts. One where they like remove healthy skin from somewhere else on your body with like a little, looks like a little hair clipper, and then put it on. Or I was eligible at the time, since I was swimming, I had really good blood circulation and I was young.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you have good enough natural blood circulation in your legs that I guess it was in good enough shape, or I don't know, genetic thing, whatever. They're like, you're eligible for a xenograft, which is the stem of many jokes that will never go away in my life. They put pig skin on me.
Yeah.
So it's denatured pig skin, where like they go in and they erase all the DNA markers that make your body see it as a foreign entity, and then they just stitch it on you. And the thing is it doesn't actually. What it does is it acts like the scar tissue for your body, or it acts like a scab. So instead of your body, what it does is it allows your body to not have to form scar tissue and then heal underneath that. Like normally your body like builds a scaffold over the, traumatized area and then rebuilds underneath that scaffold. So when they put the xenograft on, your body doesn't, if your body accepts the skin graft, which mine did, and there's no infection, now your body isn't dumping all its resources into building scar tissue as fast as possible. It will heal back completely naturally underneath that pigskin graft, and that pigskin graft just turns into a scab that like slowly peels off like any other scab does.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, the skin is there's still some scar tissue, still look like wrinkly old man feet.
Yeah.
I'll never be able to start an OnlyFans for selling toe pics. It's kind of a loss. I feel a little cheated. But
you're in a wheelchair for a while. Crutches.
Yeah, wheelchair, crutches, had to be booted up, but the whole silver skin stuff, like had to get wrapped every time.
Yeah.
It'd take like 20 minutes. You got to like put on one layer of stuff and then another layer of like cotton bandage and then ace wraps and then my boots on top of that. And so I don't know if you ever watched Adventure Time, but when the one episode where Finn is stuck in like a legs down cast, I look like that. You're like straight leg, walking around like a block man.
You had quite a bit of support, though. Or it seemed like it. I don't know.
Yeah, for the most part. I was really surprised. One of my good friends, Will Hammond, his mom, we were swimmers together. And like I think at our school, that was a big community. Everyone was pretty tight in there. He didn't come visit me. Fuck you, Will. No,
to bleep that out.
His mom actually happened to be in town in Denver, and she heard what happened, and she came to the hospital. I maybe met her like once or twice.
Yeah.
But she was like, oh, I heard what happened. And she came in and sat down and talked with me and like brought me some crossword puzzles to do, which meant so much. Because, I mean, when you're sitting in there for 2 weeks and you cannot do anything by yourself.
Yeah.
Wow, is it nice to have someone to talk to?
Yeah.
Just someone to come sit down and like say some words to you. And there's programs you can volunteer where you go do that at the hospital in your town.
Yeah. Where
you can just go sit and talk to people that are stuck in beds like that.
Yeah.
So if you want to feel good about yourself, try it out.
Yeah.
And I remember I had one nurse who actually happened to be from Lewistown. Once we got to talking, I think his name was James. And he was my only male nurse, and he clocked out of his shift. It was like a 12-hour shift. He clocked out, and then he just sat with me for an hour and a half and just like BS'd and like just hung out with me.
Really?
Yeah. Super cool guy. Same thing. It meant so much to just have someone to talk to.
Yeah. When
you're stuck in there like that.
Yeah. Wow. That's insane.
So, yeah, had to learn how to walk again. Sucked.
What financially? How the heck did that...
Well, I'll probably never live the guilt down of costing mom and dad $40,000.
It was only $40,000?
That was the number they would tell me, and they never wanted to talk to me about it. And I actually wouldn't... I was so ashamed of what I had done, I would not because I knew it was just racking up bills. I actually wouldn't let dad come see me in the hospital.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to, and I was like, no, he can see me when I come home, and I'm like somewhat functional. Yeah. I was like, I will not let him come see me in the hospital, because this wasn't like a tragic accident. This is just me being an idiot.
Yeah.
That put me there. So I was like, I can't do it. Can't do the guilt. Can't do the shame.
Yeah.
But no. Oh, so the cool thing financially, the one cool thing is Life Flight. I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but at least through the Billings Hospital, what Life Flight does is it doesn't matter the cost of the operation to get you where you need to go. They just take whatever your insurance is willing to pay. And that's it.
Wow.
That's all they charge you.
Wow.
So the life flight part is not as expensive as people think. If you have insurance, they will just take whatever insurance is willing to pay. That's what they take. And then that's how they work. That's it. I don't know if there's still a deductible that we had to pay on top of that, but
I think there, and then you had to GoFundMe too, right?
yeah, someone started to GoFundMe for me. I still to this day have pretty mixed feelings about that. I appreciate it, obviously. It helped mom and dad with some covered when we were in the hotel for a month and a half and meals and some extra stuff and help with some things here and transportation. Pretty much we use that for stuff outside the hospital bills, all the extra, because there's a lot of extra costs that also come with just being out of town for that long. Mm-hmm. So that's what that money went to. And I obviously thank you to anyone who donated and helped my family with that and me. But yeah, talk about another guilt trip where it's like, God, not only am I costing my parents all this money for being an idiot, now people are it felt like people were paying me for being stupid. It was like, how do you say no? Because you need it. You know that every dollar someone gives you helps. Mm-hmm. But it's like, God, it's like the guilt with accepting money through a GoFundMe because you were an idiot.
Yeah.
I was like, that was really hard. Yeah. I hated that feeling. And I never want to be like, do you have some? I'm like, I don't know.
I don't know if I ever told you about my old boss that I worked for in the pipeline industry. Yeah. He called.
Yeah.
And he wanted to help out.
Yeah.
And I straight up on the phone, I was like, man, you don't have to. It's like, he's learning. And he straight up told me, he said, nah, Drew, it's not like that. Yeah. I don't know if they donated or how much. I don't know if they did that with the GoFundMe.
I know they did, but I don't want to look at it. I will never go back and look at the numbers and see who did. If you did, thank you.
Yeah.
Saved my mom and dad everything, anything you gave.
Yeah.
Even if you sent me a box in the mail while I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
Anything you did, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Helped the family out a lot, took a lot of stress off. But that whole period of time is just so much. Humor to get through it, laughter to cope, and just on the backside, complete shame and guilt at how stupid that was.
Yeah.
And now I laugh about it, and people are like, oh, yeah, what's up, mister?
People laugh about it, yeah.
People laugh about it. Oh, so when you get your feet too warm, does it smell like bacon?
Yeah.
And it's like a laugh with a right hook behind it. Yeah. It's just like,
yeah. I know it bothers you, and I know that you still had nightmares and stuff.
That was what I was going to add. I was going to say, when I first checked in, I remember it was very ironic. Ingrid and Michael came to visit me in the hospital one day when I could I think I'd gotten my skin grafts, and I'd already been dealing with.
This is our cousins.
Yeah, our cousins. I'd already been dealing, or I don't know if it was after whatever. They came to the lobby, and I was able to roll out and meet them for 10 minutes and just talk to somebody again. Thank you for visiting, because boy, was it boring in there. And I remember when I rolled out to see them, they had a little pin board on the wall of the office with take a number, get in contact with these people. And one of them was, since it was right outside the burn ward, it was, are you a burn victim suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder? Take this number, join a group. We talk about it. I remember seriously? I was like, PTSD is for soldiers and people who've seen people get killed in front of them. It's like, this isn't real. This is a joke. And then every night after that in the hospital, I would wake up in screaming night terrors and jump so hard that I would tear all the skin that was healing. And so I would wake up in cold sweats, screaming fear, and then re-tear all my skin grafts or healing skin and just double the pain. And I'd have to wake up and smack the pain button and sit there in cold sweat and scream. And you feel like you're having you feel like it happened again. Mm-hmm. You feel like you just did it again.
Yeah.
Every night.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm in there. And then for years afterwards, I would go spend the night at a friend's house. If it was a slightly uncomfortable sleeping situation, I'd just jump up in the night and be cold sweat, freaked out, didn't know what was going on because I'd have nightmares about being on fire. Mm-hmm. Anything fire related, couldn't do. I remember when I got back, we went out for prom dinner because I still went to prom. I went in a wheelchair and just cripped out on oxycodone, sat by the punch bowl the whole time. But I did do one slow dance with the girl. But remember we went to a hibachi place for dinner. And they do the onion volcano where they fill it with oil and then light it on fire. And I was in my wheelchair, and the lizard brain kicked in so fast before I could have a conscious thought. I had rolled myself to the other side of the restaurant, like in reverse. I got thrown reverse there, back across the restaurant before I knew it was happening because there's a wall of flame in front of me. Couldn't do it. Freaked me out. And the hibachi chef was like, "What?" I think he was freaked out. He didn't know what's going on either.
Barely speaks English properly.
Yeah. And, I mean, for probably at least 2 years after that, I mean, even today sometimes, you know, like I'll sit at a campfire and someone will think it's a good idea to dump their bacon grease on the campfire after breakfast and a wall of flame will shoot up. And I don't jump across the room anymore, but I definitely, like, I blade off and I'm, like, ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, we were at some river floating thing and some girl like did the fire spinning. She brings out a staff at night and like lights both ends on fire, and I had to stand 200 yards away and like watch it from across the campsite.
Yeah.
You know, I can build a campfire, stuff like that is like I'm fine with that now, but for a long time I would still have night terrors, uncontrollable reactions to fire.
Yeah.
You know, it screws you up.
That's wild. All right. This podcast's getting to be
long.
Pretty long one.
Oh,
but
full SD card on you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Don't know for how long.
Well, that's fine. We're just going to go ahead and end it here.
Dude.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me. It only took us 3 sessions.
Yeah, it took us 3 sessions, but it's a Christmas special, and
maybe chop it into 2.
That's fine. No, I'll probably leave it all as 1. I'm just going to have to figure out where that camera quit working.
Yeah.
And
that should have been why. I was really you had me really into the story there.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. It's good to have some levity. You're always the one that was way more funny than me.
Gotta crack some jokes sometimes.
I take stuff too seriously in a lot of ways, but
who doesn't?
I love having you on, and look forward to having you on again. There's so much more we haven't covered.
So much more to talk, but that's good. It'll keep people coming back.
Yeah, yeah. I hope to have reoccurring sessions with all of my guests because they're just that interesting. You're never going to hear about everything going on in the person's
You can never
life.
cover it all in once.
Yeah, not in a couple hours. No way.
Oh.
So, especially if you're really thinking about it. But, all right, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for everybody listening up. The date and time, today is 3:53 p.m., and it is the 27th of December. So we're a couple days after Christmas. It is a Monday, and we just finally got this done. Quinn's going to go jump in his rig, get it warmed up. It's about -11 outside today. It's really cold.
We got a 2-hour drive.
Home. Yeah.
It's going to be sweet.
Yeah, that'll be sweet. So, and yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. I got some pretty exciting guests coming on in the next couple days. I'm hoping to have a buddy of mine that is going through cancer and everything. We think he's got it whipped, but we'll see what happens. He's going to be probably coming on tomorrow, I believe, Tuesday. I don't know when I'm going to get that episode out, but I'm very excited to hear his story and what he's done, what he's gone through. And he's a phenomenal person before that, so it's not just the cancer that makes him exciting. And then I have some other people coming up, hopefully in the next couple weeks. So we're going to have some more interviews coming on, and then I'll just be dropping some knowledge. I guess that SD card's closed as I'm trying to talk to that camera.
Put your head in front of mine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Just lean over.
And so that's pretty much the situation. Thanks for tuning in, Quinn. Thanks for coming on again. This has been a Drew and Quinn Gerber podcast.
Crimbus Special.
Crimbus Special. Christmas. Merry Chrysler.
Merry Chrysler. And don't try to find me on socials. For the pores, baby.
Yeah. Do you want... do a shout out. What's your socials? I mean, heck, they can keep up with your shenanigans.
Okay, my Instagram is... You can probably... Instagram is the best way.
Yeah.
It's just my name. QUINNGERBER.
Mm-hmm.
And...
is it just Quinn Gerber? That's it?
Yeah, I got that handle.
That's it?
I got that
handle. I had
handle.
to be the Drew Gerber.
Yeah, well...
For people to follow me.
OG. Number 1. And if we become friends, maybe you can have my Snapchat, because that's where the fun stuff happens.
Yep. Sure. All right. Peace out.